Greetings and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is November 27th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. I'm ready to go on this journey. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. I'm ready, you know.
Yep. Lost you there for a second. We're already off and running. Got a little echo. PJ, we're good. We're doing this live. We're going to do year in review, part 1 and 2 here. Wednesday the 27th. We'll post part 2 in audio format on Friday, Black Friday, the actual Black Friday. And post the audio of part 1 on Wednesday. I'm getting texts this morning, people on their travels, biggest travel day of the year, saying, "Where's my year in review?" Well, you got it live. You got to pull up the YouTube in the car. Don't watch while you're driving, but you got it live. And, of course, if you're traveling Wednesday night, you'll have it on the normal podcast feeds. A little dabbling here. We'll see. It could be a disaster. It could be maybe a brave new world. We'll see. You ready for Thanksgiving, though, Andy? You're fired up.
I am fired up. I gotta say, this feels like a departure from just the strictly audio medium that we've been operating in, and it's is this the death to moment? We gotta get more volume on the audio board. I don't like this.
You can bump the volume.
There's
a volume
new
tab.
Where is it?
I'm all out of
right at the top.
I think it's not loud enough. We're in a new.
There we go.
There we go.
There's a little bit more juice in that one podcast. We're getting there. This is a. I mean, it's not quite as avant-garde as podcasting in a car with 2 AirPods, one of which only has a microphone, but it's a new experiment for us. I don't think we'll have video for those future endeavors. All right, we don't need. If everybody knows the deal, you want to do the week.
I think we need to do the intro. There's new listeners.
All right. Well, quickly, just it's Thanksgiving in the United States, which means the world mostly stops except for football. There is golf this week, the Australian Open at Kingston Heath, overnight golf. Just recommend you watch that.
This is the event of the week: Victoria and Kingston Heath.
Yes, in Victoria. Sorry, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. That's Wednesday through Saturday. Just great little cozy up by the fire. If you don't want to watch football, want to do something different, golf down under.
You know what's great? When you've like OD'd on turkey.
Yeah,
you feel awful. It's 10 p.m. The football's over. It's 10 or 11 p.m. You feel just terrible. And then you realize the Australian Open's on.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Maybe you've taken like 2 naps on the day. Your caloric intake's at 4,000 calories.
You don't want to watch the Packers beat up on the Dolphins, freezing their ass off at Lambeau. You just switch to golf.
That's good.
In Australia. Flip to golf in Australia. I like it. So that's your go ahead.
We haven't asked PJ this. What's PJ's favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I think I'm going with turkey. Turkey and gravy.
Turkey with 0 seasoning.
No,
just
gravy,
just dry as possible.
Need gravy.
All right.
Gravy is mandatory. That's a hot take in my household. Me and my dad are the only 2 that actually enjoy the gravy. But I think I'm keeping it simple.
I'm with your.
I like
your house.
The barbecue turkey. Like we had in Austin. It was good. Real turkey is like one of my favorite things.
Barbecue turkey.
Yeah.
Smoked, you mean? Or what?
Yeah.
What do you mean barbecue? Like
that you get at any of those barbecue places.
Okay.
I'm a fan of the turkey.
Do you smoke
That's
it
how
then?
you do it.
At your house?
I don't know what they do. I just show up and eat. I don't know. Do you think I have any cooking acumen?
No, I don't.
I could see you developing a cooking acumen later in life. One day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna be a chef.
I hope so.
You bring some Skittles to the table, some Twizzlers, and just pass them around.
Clusters, yeah.
Nerds clusters. That's your contribution to the spread. I love that. Love that. All right.
My daughter recently discovered nerds on Halloween.
Yeah. The kids love the nerds these days.
Every time she asks me, what are these called again? I'm like, nerds.
I don't let my kids eat those in the house. They have to go outside.
That's fair.
sit on the paddock because they
That's why you
just
get
dump
the
them everywhere.
clusters. That's
Yeah.
why you get the clusters.
I know. Clusters are taking off. All right. So Australian Open, great courses. You have Ladies European Tour at Andalusia. Those are golf events going on. Quick news. Apparently, this is Josh Carmer, Scott O'Neill, former Sixers, and I think New Jersey Devils executive. Apparently, in advanced talks to become the new CEO of Live Golf. That has been a bit of a hot rumor lately. Maybe progress being made on whatever framework was once positioned. So maybe progress here in the holiday season on those two sides coming together in a future world order. That will not be 25, but maybe 26, something like that.
Years from now, we'll be able to say we're thankful. One of the great Thanksgiving blessings was when golf came back together.
Thanksgiving is technically, supposed to be sleepy, but things have popped off in the golf world around Thanksgiving with news and
we're like, what, probably like 14 years, 15 years removed now from the Tiger one?
The hydrant.
Yeah. 15 probably. Was that 09?
09, I want to say. Yeah, I think so. Sounds right. But yeah, there just feels like there's always big kind of off the course news happening, whether it's mergers or this, that, or other. But Scott O'Neill is rumored, Josh Carpenter, per him. So that's it. Those are the immediate substance. Let's get to by the way, Black Friday Pro Shop sale is ongoing. Use Black Friday 24. You get 20% off your order. Club TFE members get 25% off, a little extra 5% of sugar there on top for Club TFE members using their normal code. The wink, wink. You know what that is. So that's our best sale of the year. We're stocked up. Good stuff. I recommend the Task lawn sleeves. Those are money. You got winter layers. You got polos. A bunch of stuff from B. Draddy. They have the Liam polo stocked up. Liam polo from B. Draddy. Like, don't mess around. Don't try to get too cute with it. Don't try to get too exotic. Liam polo is a money item. Like, I have 2 or 3 of them now in the same color, same style. It's just money. It's just perfect polo, and it's a winner. It's a tried and true winner. But Black Friday 24 gets you 20%
I think there's
off.
one Andy hoodie left for a burly boy, double XL.
Wow.
I was going to recommend that, and I was like, oh, there's only one left. For a double XL, there's one remaining Andy hoodie. Otherwise,
hoodies.
I will say the American Needle crew neck is really, really delightful. My wife has basically just taken it. She's commandeered it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like just so soft on the inside,
Yeah.
Those nice it's just gone. It's gone.
That was something you saw out in the wild at a fancy little pro shop, and you're like, we want these, we need these, and now we have them. So
yeah,
you personally found that and personally recommend it. So
Black
Friday 24.
8 months later, you're just in the shop. That's the beauty of golf merchandising.
Black Friday 24 gets you 20% off. All right. And it supports our work. All right, let's do year in review. This is the 6th annual. This was just some harebrained scheme we threw out in 2018. Like, oh shit, we got to talk about golf. It's December. We committed to 3 episodes a week. Let's just do a year in review. And here we are. It just dominates, puts us in the corner for all of the holiday season researching, doing all this stuff. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was going to say my family loves it. Maybe more than. I mean, I tell my wife it's your review time.
Oh no! Are you serious? Well, at least the expectations are set at this point because it's year 6. But yeah, this is the reaction. It's not a positive one. We bounce around. We go event, but we follow the PGA Tour schedule up until their Super Bowl, and then sometimes we purposefully or unintentionally just don't forget to do the last event of the year.
I was disappointed to see the FedEx Cup playoffs on the schedule.
The outline.
I think it should be optional.
We're gotta get the BMW. We'll do a few of them. We'll see. We are usually out of gas and just don't have any interest in doing a lot on that. But so we alternate events. I'll take an event. I research it for a couple hours. And then just ask you guys a couple questions. And Andy takes the next event, researches it, throws. And again, we're not here to say Jordan Spieth hit it to the middle of the fairway. Then you've got 100. Then he hit a 7-iron to 5 feet, and then he made birdie. We're not going for those details. We might tell you who won the event. We might, but that's it. It's not a play-by-play. It's the odds and ends. It's so and so. The best one I ever discovered, I think, going back, never hit this, was Harbor Town. It was like when Harbor Town was pre-signature. And Kelly Craft hit a bird in mid-flight. His drive hit a bird mid-flight and ricocheted out of bounds. And like he missed the cut by a shot. And of course we don't remember that in January or December, right? So these are the kinds of odds and ends we're going for. We'll bounce back and forth and just take it all the way through the summer. Anything else you want to add on that, Andy? This is year 6, a favorite of the listeners for sure.
There's just always some nice Easter eggs that you find along the way. Some moments that I think like one of my favorite parts is when you're researching it and you come across something that just makes you cackle. Reminding, I had a couple moments of that the last 2 days.
Mine started, and we're gonna get to this, the Sentry. I like opened it. I was like, what was our first podcast? I shared it with the image of Kevin Warren washing his car in the morning.
Oh, it was that article.
Yeah, that was a big one at the top of the year. PJ wasn't with us, by the way. PJ's just been sort of a divine intervention in the middle of this year.
I'm excited. I'm gonna remember things that I don't even remember remembering. I'm in January 2024. I'm knee deep in the first Lions playoff run in 35 years. I'm not paying attention to anything, so this is good.
Do you remember when the Kevin Warren article came out?
Yes, I do. Being on an NFC North building at that point, it was I do remember where I was when I read the Kevin Warren article.
It's like 5,000 words, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I loved it's just incredible. Wakes up at 4 a.m., then lays silently in bed for an hour.
You're not really like,
you're not up.
Veg out.
Yeah.
You just gotta veg out. It's fine.
That's what everybody calls the snooze function.
Couldn't hire Harbaugh because he's got to lay in bed for an hour silently.
It's my favorite, maybe my favorite thing. And it's like they frame it as he logs these 18-hour days. And in there, it's like, wait, he doesn't actually start working till like 10 a.m.
He washes his car by hand.
He washes his car every day. I mean, they've got the picture of him with the like
squeegee,
long-stemmed hose and all this stuff. Like, who's doing that?
PJ, people are asking. I have one entry for this, but people are asking, is there a Champs Tour segment in your review?
I have some Champs Tour research. One of my weeks intersected with the Champs Tour tournament, so I'm ready.
I'm not gonna lie. Mine is just a landmark moment in Champs Tour history, but for the most part, I just blew through the Champs Tour.
Yeah. It's got to really have something pop into the orbit. Again, we'll just shout out some of our sources. I mean, we use our own show. We use our own email. You should subscribe to the Fried Egg newsletter. I don't know. I followed Lavner's Monday article. Alex Myers does a Wednesday article for odds and ends. Shackelford's newsletter. I mean, we're not going to cite every time we bring up a nugget, but like Twitter accounts of our own, obviously Danny Raps, NLU, Porter, Bacon, Eric Patterson, Tron, Dylan DeShare, Brentley Romine of Golf Channel, indispensable resource for this kind of stuff. Ben Coley, the betting expert across the pond. A lot of Challenge Tour tweets from Ben I had to wade through to just try to get some nuggets. But he's a great resource too. So I don't any other sources we just want to cite so we're not being rip-off artists here.
I came across what had to be the news of the Bears retaining Eberflus to a congratulations tweet from Tron. which,
Yeah.
1 year later now just feels, it was like a salt in the wound.
Yeah, there was like you were on a cycle. I mean, there's some tweets from you in this January frame. It was like perfect. We're great. We're all set up. We got a first pick. We're tanking for the. No, we're doing the same thing this year. It's like we were competitive but lost, and we're doing this again this year. And you have your quarterback.
You were upset. You were bothered about the Browns having to go to the Chiefs, right? Was it
Houston?
Houston. You had to go to Houston.
Smoked.
Yeah,
we won like 3 more games than the Texans. We had to play on the road.
There was some tweet I found that was like, we could focus on a much more like much more meritocratic playoff system, the FedEx Cup playoff.
Yeah, won like 11 games. Texans won, I don't know, 9. You get blown out. All right. Let's get to it. We're starting at the Sentry. No longer the Sentry Tournament of Champions, no longer the Sentry Tournament of Mostly Champions, as we called it. Now just the Sentry in 2024. And we start at the top of the year. This is obviously always a big one for new brands. Who's lost a sponsor? Who's gained a sponsor? What's going on? Who's showing up with a new haircut, a mustache, things like that. We kind of come out of our hibernation. Very excited. Jason Day, Melbon unveiling. Big Melbon. Obviously, it popped at the Masters, but for us golf sickos, it started here. He had, the parachute pants with the prints on them, like the normal people would have, like you'd get Nantucket little lobster prints all down the corduroys or something like that. But this was Melbon. I don't know if it was Skull and Bones or something like that. So he pops not only Melbon, DeWalt. He's got a big DeWalt. So this just makes no sense. Big DeWalt golf bag, giant DeWalt tools, plus the Melbon. It's just this sort of mishmash, as you might say, of confusing brands. Jason Day. Big one for me. I was very excited about.
I was waiting.
Fighter of the night, man. Oh, champion of the sun. Oh, you're a master of karate. Friendship forever.
I had to let him get through.
I was hovering over it because I just thought you were not going to do it for some reason.
I had to wait. I had to wait till he got through it.
Xander not with Adidas, he's with Descante. So like these are the things that happen. For me, the big brand new thing for me that I just pounced on. Launch monitor wraps. Bespoke launch monitor wraps. So you wrap your little, like they had Hawaiian themed launch monitor wraps. Like these are so sick. I was like, can we just not have to add personal
for
expression to the
people?
Launch? Right. They're already 30. Like this needs to be the next frontier of personal expression. You need bespoke launch monitor wraps. These are Hawaiian themed launch monitor wraps at the Kapalua Sentry. Big kind of awards drama at the start of the year. So this has to do with the preceding year, but it came out this week. The PGA Tour players voted Scotty Scheffler over John Rahm Player of the Year, and Eric Cole beats Ludwig Aberg for Rookie of the Year. Now, there was all sorts of debate. Like the ballot went out, whatever, just December 7th. Rahm goes to live like December 12th, votes due December 15th. So like while the voting was open, Rahm went to live. People were like, he won the Masters, won like 4 or 5 times. It was like a reasonable debate, but Scotty wins. So there's drama about this. There's no transparency. Nobody knows what the count was, who voted for what. And the writers, it's released, voted for Rahm, the separate PGA America award Rahm. So there's a lot of drama around this with the lack of transparency. And this is really, the Rahm to live impact is felt pretty quickly. Has done well at Kapalua. Like Rory doesn't play Kapalua.
Never plays Kapalua. Hates it.
Played it like once maybe, but yeah, doesn't like Cap. So like you don't have Rory, you don't have Rahm. The pre-tournament press conferences are like Mac Hughes, which nothing against Mac Hughes, P Cup stalwart, but it was just like
Q1 was Mac Hughes season.
It was. It was. So it was
it became just the star player that puts up like 3 points a game in the NBA. Just quote machine favorite.
So it felt a little thin. You might have just remembered it during the course of research. Do you remember who won the Sentry this year? I did not.
I have no clue. Actually, was it like Harris English? Was it a
close.
non-champion?
Close. Chris Kirk.
Yeah,
Chris Kirk. I knew it was a dog.
3.6 million, Georgia Bulldog, that is. 3.6 million for Chris Kirk winning. It was a 59 player field, which just feels, anathema. That's not what we don't want 60 guys at the Sentry tournament of mostly championships. So it was all winners and the top 50 finishers in the FedEx Cup.
A question about the Sentry. Just where it is, does it limit? Do you think it limits how many people could actually be in the field? Like, could they get like enough volunteers for like?
It's a good point. It's a good point. Well, we had a big, getting volunteers out there. We had a lot of fun with. Said there are no uphill holes. I don't know who said this. Do you remember this? Someone said there are no uphill holes at Capitol. You're just going
a long time. You just play downhill the whole time, according to Twitter. This has been a long-standing beat.
You were like a dog with a bone with this one.
I brought up driving distances. Yeah. And people are like, well, all the holes at Kapalua go downhill. It's like, oh yeah, the golf course just plays downhill. Now, like, there are some drives, like it's people say it's unwalkable that go back uphill, but like the premise that the course only plays downhill, unless the first hole and the 18th hole are miles apart. That is ridiculous.
You were a dog with a bone on that. Screenshots of all these uphill shots. You were on it all week. Go ahead.
Yeah, what an idiot. Just stupid.
Kirby. A lot of concerns about NBC's tower experiment. So this is the first week. No Zaner.
This is the first week of NBC's shuffling deck.
And you're like, what is this? What is going on? There's like not. So Kisner came in and he was good, but like we already knew he still wanted to play golf. So he's out. He's like here for a week. Kurt Byram's doing it. We're like, how do we not have a tower? And
we still don't have one.
Right.
We still don't have one.
Right. Right.
Don't worry. It's only been 10 months.
Spinco will figure it out.
So this was like, we're like, well, what's the plan here? Well, you kind of miss Zaner just late at night, just speaking nonsense about, Colin Morikawa can't chip because of pressure, things like that. But Kisner was good. He was very good in this. So it said, Jordan, it's a 3-footer. Hit it, bud. Remember, he got on Jordan's feet. Just hit it, bud. He was good. This is the first signature event of 24, and it marked the start of a portion of the schedule that was branded and capitalized. Do you remember what this was, Andy?
Was it the Aeon Swing 5?
No, not branded, I should say, just capitalized. This was the start of the opening drive.
The opening drive.
Don't remember this? I don't think this stuck. Opening drive was 2-week kickoff to the season. 2 weeks. That's what they're calling the Hawaiian opening drive. All caps.
Man, there's ads on YouTube live.
Are they jamming us?
Yeah, they're jamming us. They're adding to our commercial load.
Okay, let me see if I can turn that off.
I don't know. We might want the revenue.
Just bring it in. We'll be able to, we put the work into this research. Let's get paid.
You know what's funny is I can't figure out how to get our YouTube ads revenue out of the bank, out of the YouTube bank.
It's just stuck.
It's just sitting there.
We don't know how.
It's been stuck for 5 years.
It's just it's there. Well, how do I get it? No, I don't know.
Other amusing moment in my life right now is that we had a frost where I live.
Yeah.
Great news. Do you know what that meant?
No, what does that mean?
The yellow jacket nest.
Oh,
wow, that's big.
I can use the door to the closest door to my office. without
Nature's
getting
pest
stung.
control. Nature's exterminator. You got a Frost. Congrats on that. Congrats.
But I did read that when the queen will survive a frost and effectively hibernate.
Yeah.
So I this nest could
Yeah.
just be right back in
Yeah.
the spring.
Yeah. I think you need to get a professional to come in and clean them out. All right. What else happened? So Rom has gone to live. This is the story. Xander is asked about it. It's like, I don't really have a whole lot to say. He said his head is in the sand 6 different times during his press conference. Used the phrase head in the sand. Just doesn't want. I mean, this is when Xander, let's be honest, he hadn't done a lot. Like, he'd been a very top of the world player, but kind of was like, you've made a lot of money. You've not, been competitive, haven't won a lot at this point, but was stirring stuff up. I don't have any responsibility. My head's in the sand. I don't care. Lot of Hovland hoopla. PGA Tour's Sean Martin just getting crooked with the stats. Says he could become the 4th player in 15 years to win 3 straight PGA Tour starts. Of course, there was like a 4-month break in between them. But, he says joining Tiger, Rory, and DJ with 3 in a row. So
I can't believe he didn't play from.
Yeah, he just took off. One Atlanta, staggered start, one there, and then showed up. He had so everybody's fired about Victor Hovland, and here we are, 9 months later, and it's kind of like, that didn't pan out. He had just gotten rid of Joe Mayo, reported by Golf Channel's Todd Lewis. They declined to discuss the reasons behind the split. Surprising turn of events after Mayo was largely credited with revamping Hovland's much maligned short game. Curious independent thinker, Hovland is no stranger to coaching changes, but in his first start, he bladed a bunker shot that led to a triple bogey at Kapalua, and he wound up tied for 22nd. So the split with the Mayo man, the Chip Monk, was the big news, and then he bladed a bunker shot.
Hey, you know what's one of our favorite games?
What?
Who fell out of the top 10 in the world?
Yeah.
For a given year.
Yeah.
Ready for the rankings on week 1 of
Sure.
OWGR.
Yeah.
Scheffler number 1, Rory number 2, John Rahm number 3. So he fell out, which probably wasn't, really valid.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Victor, who's now number 8, so almost fell out. Cantlay number 5. Cantlay is out of the top 10 in the world for the first time in a really long time. He's 11.
Wow.
Xander number 6, Homa number 7 out, Fitzy number 8 out, Brian Harmon number 9 out, and then Wyndham number 10 still in. So this year we had incredible churn.
Yeah, a lot of turnover up there.
Middle of the order, when the Yankees lose Juan Soto.
Yes, Andy. Yes.
That'll be just like that, churn in the middle of the order.
So the PGA Tour brought in a big celebrity, primetime influencer and guest this week. Someone who was referenced
Wilson.
Recently. Well, that happened too. I think that was a Happy Gilmore 2 activation.
No, it wasn't. He's doing an Apple TV show.
Yes.
About a wash-up tour. I don't know. I'm excited about that.
It's like a Ted Lasso for golf or something like that.
I think I'm more excited about that than Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
I have a controversial take about Happy Gilmore 1, but we'll do another time.
What surprise? You hate it.
It's fine.
It's
fine. I don't know. Who was the big time celebrity referenced recently out of nowhere on this podcast on a recent
Taylor Swift?
Think Hawaii, big time influencer. Maybe got catfished.
Mark Rolfe. Oh, Manti Te'o.
This was the big news. We got a tip. The tour is leaning heavily into Manti Te'o to come, and then he's on the ground. He's taking pictures. He's all over the place. Manti Te'o
did Sirius XM NFL Radio with Papa this week. Maybe he's getting into the golf game.
Champions
Do you just
Tour.
have a Papa tracker?
I had like 3 people send it to me.
Oh my God.
Because we mentioned Manti Te'o last week.
Any and all Papa news is sent to PJ.
It's just me.
He was just seen at the Costco on Long Island. Papa's there.
I feel like you need to do an interview with Papa.
One day. One day.
You got to reach out. Where's the Champions Tour minute off-season plans? We've been prodding you. There's nothing's coming out yet. We're a month into the off-season almost.
First round of Q school this week.
Oh my God.
Is Todd Dempsey playing with the Persimmons again?
Do you want me to go look?
Yeah, you should be looking that up.
This is going to be a 15-hour episode. This is a big caddy shuffle. Joe Scavron moved on from the global superstar, ditched him, left him at the side of the road. Tom Kim, he shows up with Ludwig Aberg. Little Paul Tesori gets bounced from Cam Young, who shows up with Tom Kim. There's just like a big carousel.
Smart guy, Joe Scavron.
Yeah. Bounces.
Investing early.
Yeah.
Victor,
just a smart. Might have had front row seats to some of the stuff that's been coming out lately about all the international superstar. This was pre him getting dubbed an international superstar.
That's true.
Though.
Netflix hasn't come out yet. So this was also Victor asked about Rob going to live, and he just crushes the PGA Tour, lets it rip, just destroys it. He says, I'm not complaining about the position I'm in. That's a lot of money, especially when the management of the PGA Tour has done such a bad job. The management has not done a good job. They see the players as labor and not part of the membership. We are the PGA Tour. Without the players, there is nothing. When you see what happens behind closed doors, how the management actually makes decisions which are not in our best interests, but best for themselves and what they think is best, they're businessmen who say that, no, it should look like this and that. There's a great deal of arrogance behind it all. So Victor just lobbing grenades at his own management right off the bat.
You might have gotten a taste of that infamous Zoom call where he might have been screaming.
The heavy metal in him came out. He's just screaming into a Zoom camera at Jay Monahan, allegedly. And Mac Hughes, the quote machine. He had I'm not going to read
back in action.
He had a 5-page soliloquy just going on. He's mad that he wasn't allowed in the Delaware meeting. He's 25 people are basically deciding the future of the PGA Tour. I think it told me my opinion mattered. There were 70. That was a slap in the face. You got 70 of the best players in the PGA Tour that season. You're going to tell me I can't sit in that meeting and listen? I'm not saying you should make a decision based on what I think. Well, I kind of are. But it would be nice to even just put your 2 cents in and hear what's going on, to be involved. Because I'm not going to say I'm not a star on the PGA Tour, but I'm not a chump either. But they don't care if Mackenzie Hughes says anything. So he's going back and forth, arguing with himself in real time, and just says, our economic model was sustainable. 2019 was all about golf. Live Threat comes along. We have to double purses. We're asking sponsors to double their investment, and we're giving them the same product. I'll say same shit platter, but he said same product. Double, double, double. And it was sustainable, and now it's not.
This was his anger moment in the stages of acceptance. And later, within Q1, he just becomes, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy.
Yeah.
He starts pandering to golf media.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he starts saying, I'm so lucky to play this game for whatever.
Exactly.
It's not about the money. Yeah. We have the same product we had in 2019, but we have this increased investment, but in a big way, not just slightly. All right. So that was the Mac Hughes minute. The septic tank, speaking of sponsorship shuffling.
No more scares.
This was Scares is making incursions into the baseball market.
No.
They're coming.
You know what I have to say
They're
about
advertising.
No way.
Wacky? God, you're just getting loose with the soundboard here. No. Septic tank no longer in Scares, which left us down. Rory goes on this little soccer podcast with some guys we've never heard of, but people, we're kidding. This is Rory Keane. These guys all have 1 billion followers. Idiot Americans.
Rory, did it go in?
Stop. You're out of control. And he's talking about Live, the soccer podcast. Asks him, about Live. Obviously, he goes, I don't begrudge anyone for going and taking the money and doing something different, but don't try to burn the place down on your way out. That's my attitude towards it, because some people are happy playing the existing structure, and that's totally fine too. but it's created this division that will hopefully stop soon because I think it's the best thing for golf. And so this was framed immediately as a U-turn. So he said, he also said, I think at this point I was maybe a little judgmental on the guys who went to live golf at the start. And I think it was a bit of a mistake on my part because I now realize that not everyone was my position or Tiger Woods' position. We all turn pro to make a living playing the sports we do. I think that's what I realized over the last 2 years. I can't judge people for making that decision. He says, I think what live has done, it's exposed the flaws in the system of what golf has because we're supposed to be independent contractors. We can pick and choose what tournaments we want to play for. I think what live and decides of exposed, you're asking for millions of dollars to sponsor these events. And you're not able to guarantee those sponsors that the players are going to show up. I can't believe the PGA Tour has done so well for so long. So at the time, this was, very, very candid. We had not heard anything like this from Rory. And he says this on the football podcast or the soccer podcast. And boy, do the live boys pounce. Greg Norman says, thank you for falling on your sword. Is characterizing as like a stunning U-turn. Like if you read between the lines or read the actual quotes, it wasn't necessarily like Liv's right, I was wrong. Said he was too judgmental. Said they've exposed the flaws. But again, Phil says this is a time to come together. This had to be hard for Rory to do, but we appreciate it. Like this is the time to come together. Just ridiculous sort of just victory laps taken by the live boys. Phil, let me just get Phil's actual tweet. This quote, many others made today by Rory, probably weren't easy to say. Let's not use this as an opportunity to pile on. Rather, it's time for me and others to let go of our hostilities and work towards a positive future. Ram's sign is turning into a bridge to bring both sides, as evidenced. And then Greg says, Norman, Happy New Year to golf. That's my reaction. I've got to be honest with you. I'm very appreciative of what Rory said. It's been a painful couple of years. What we've done has been consistent. Our narrative has been consistent. Our delivery mechanism has been consistent. The reason I say I appreciate Rory to fall on his sword to some degree is the fact he did judge us by not knowing the facts. He judged us on other people's thoughts and opinions. I feel like Rory's probably one of the most informed people in the world on the whole thing. That's since day one. But fall on the sword. So that was just pounced on, and here we are 8-9 months later, still sort of trying to sort it out. That was a big one. What else? Oh, we did a podcast. You did a podcast from a baggage claim at the Swamp.
Yeah.
This was our Sunday night podcast.
Oh, yeah. I got in the car and the blinker was going.
Yeah. This was our first event of the year recap episode. You go from baggage claim and then you're in a rental car facility down in the Swamp. So that was our start to the year.
I overslept that next morning. I remember I had a crazy. I woke up. I woke up after my tea time was started. It was a bad scene, tough scene.
Well, you were podcasting from the rental car late.
Oh God, I remember we were talking about like Smiley. I was just parked somewhere, just sitting and talking. Yeah.
I have that in my notes.
You know what was Smiley right next to?
Smiley pulled up on speed. He went a little soft on speed during Kapalua. Go ahead.
I was right next to the woods while doing it. I was in the same shopping center as the woods.
A little cul-de-sac there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about Smiley going a little soft on Spieth during his mess on Sunday. Last hour was commercial free on Golf Channel, but the leaders had 2 holes to play, 17 and 18. Well, and they did not wait a minute sooner than the last hour. And it was just like, all right, well, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. But again, it was the last 2 holes.
This is Jay's point. Pace of play has to be slow, for your free hour.
John Rahm, having just left for Live, is vacationing in Maui, nearby. He's per Doug Ferguson, run into a couple tour players. According to them, it was somewhere between cordial and chilly. So Rahm is vacationing. He's just following the tour, but not on it anymore.
I'll tell you what, that's a wide spectrum. Cordial and chilly.
Yeah, that is true. Somewhere between that. Chris Kirk makes history. PGA Tour, 700-point. First ever 700-point FedEx Cup event. History in our book. Memorable.
What a great FedEx. You know, at one point, we could put this on Chris Kirk's tombstone. At one point, he was the best player in the world.
700 event.
He was number one in the world after Kapalua.
The only golf I'll just mention is like he went from a 7-iron to 5-iron on 17, hit just an awesome shot to like 3 feet and slammed the door. He was playing with Akshay, who just kind of spit the bit on Sunday. Sahith was the primary challenger, but Chris Kirk wasn't like the best Kapalua, I would say.
Well, this was the start of the poo-poo platter that was the West Coast swing.
Yep. Final round scoring average was 66.66, the lowest ever since 1983 to the present, since they were keeping track. Sanjay Im set the record for most birdies in a 72-hole tournament, 34 birdies. These are not things we remember, right? We don't remember the lowest scoring average. We don't remember the birdie record. These are not like these, people shout like, oh, you just want to, you want to roll it back and because you hate birdies. Like, this just isn't the shit we remember, No. Oh, Sanjay Im, birdie record. Nobody remembers that. Justin Rose played the wrong ball. He just played Taylor Moore's ball in the middle of the fairway, just walked to the wrong ball and played it. Recognized it, though, before he got off the hole, I think. 2-shot penalty. Todd Watch, big week for him. He was leading there in the middle of the tournament, was on the top of golfchannel.com. Again, maybe not the deepest Kapalua. Brendan Todd leading golfchannel.com. He's breaking clubs. He was the one that did the walk and talk. So, Siggy event, Brendan Todd walk and talk. Not the biggest thing. Tyrrell Hatton.
I mean, Mackenzie Hughes was the walk and talk at Riv.
Ooh. Tyrrell Hatton was still on tour and just tomahawking into the rough. He duffed a chip. He's just like a psycho, just tomahawks like 4 times into the rough. His outfit was a disaster. He shot like a 64 and talked about how it was garbage. He was terrible, hated it, everything. Max Homa hits a 477-yard drive. I think it's the longest one since, 30 years. You don't remember that. 477-yard drive by Max Homa.
I don't remember. I remember maybe Shane saying something about his long drive,
Yeah. There were a lot more porta potties on the course, and everybody thinks John Rahm's complaints on his way out the door. The caddies are cheering the amount of porta potties at Kapalua. Brandel takes a big run at NLU for their ads because NLU said there's too many ads. Brandel pops off about the ads in their podcast, and NLU responds in kind, and this was a big drama. They kind of just, Solly put him in a body bag on that one.
So bad.
Didn't go well. That was a big moment during the week. We did Rory. According to this was a big stat of the week. According to SBJ, the most watched golf telecast from the prior year was the final round of the Masters. It was the 131st most watched sports broadcast of the year.
Didn't the NFL had like 71 of the
Sure.
top 72 broadcasts?
But this is as the money's going up, and Chris Kirk's making $3.6 million. And this was the stat of the week, 131st most watched broadcast.
And then if you went top next one, it would have been like 500th.
Yes. Let's get to Jordan Spieth, the bad break king. We've known Jordan Spieth for bad breaks his whole life. He hits it in a double divot on 15, a plugged lie in the lip of the fairway bunker on 16, led to his first bogey since Thursday, the opening round. This is Sunday. So double divot, plugged lip, takes him like a couple chops out. And then another divot on 17. And this is like the narrative. Oh, he was going to win or he was in contention. 2 divots, plugged lie, the king of bad breaks. And they talked about this is the reason for optimism. This was Ryan Lavner. Last month at the Hero, he detailed the issues he had with a nagging wrist injury and how finally he was optimistic about how he could swing the club and where his game was going to go in 2024. That did not happen. The wrist continued to bother him. And the optimism was gone quickly. Said I was kind of in a double divot. He just said he had terrible bad breaks. What else?
He had a
Pat
rough
Reed.
Q1.
He did. This week, a Jacksonville federal judge ruled that Pat Reed had to pay Brandel and other news outlets he sued for alleged defamation. So kind of reverse. The reverse on him came back.
That's what happens when you hire the clay man.
That was a ruling this week. You called the Bears a quote playoff level team that was just bad at the start of the year. They just had a tough start, but they were a playoff level team at the end.
Feels like we're still there. Now we can just say we had the fail Mary and the Packers, disaster, and we would have won the games in between the Hail Mary and the Packers game if it wasn't for the Hail Mary. The Hail Mary ruined our season. We'd be a playoff team.
Yeah. So that was that. And that's it. Rookie orientation gate starts to pop off this week, but I think that's more of a Sony Open. But it was flying fast and furious during Kapalua. Rookie orientation gate. I'll let you take the reins on that one. And you had, but just with Spieth, you had a great tweet. They showed his FedEx Cup finishes of the last 8 years, and you said just stats. It's 35th, 77th, 64th, just stats. There really was no point to the there was not a one in there. It was just just stats. So that was the Spieth minute, because Spieth was really, he kind of made it interesting for a minute, but it was Chris Kirk's Spieth.
You hate it when the numbers prove a point,
All right, let's get to Sony. That's it for the
the
Sentry.
Sony.
Yep.
Flying. Should we talk about our friends at Beach Ratty?
Yeah, let's talk about our friends at Beach Ratty.
You got the merino
sweater hoodie.
The merino sweater hoodie.
I can't.
I got the Andy hoodie on, but you can't buy this. It's sold out everywhere because it's such a great product. You can't. Only place you're gonna find that is a pro shop.
Brick and mortar. And mortar.
Where SGS 30 doesn't work.
Doesn't work there. Doesn't work there. Is there something you would recommend? Well, you already popped the Liam.
What about the everyday vest? Something I remembered back to was when you challenged me to wear the everyday vest every day at the Masters. I almost made it. Yeah, I gave up. I tapped.
You chickened out.
It wasn't because of the everyday. I just got tired of wearing the same thing every day.
The garment was alive and well.
The garment was fine. It could handle every day, and it was perfect for every day. I was the reason that I didn't go every day during the Masters. Maybe we'll bring that back next year.
Yeah, that's a bit. You go to beadratty.com, use the promo code SGS30, gets you 30% off everything. Just load it up. Load up the cart. It's very pleasing to just pop that in and then just watch the money come off the top. Everyday vest is a big one for me. I love this oatmeal, I guess is maybe what the color, merino hoodie, sweater hoodie. I've gotten in some matching release patterns, double cross. I'm wearing khakis and I have the oatmeal color. I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to be Tanimal today. But I love it. Great color. Use the code SGS30 to get 30% off there all year.
Zero restriction too.
Yeah. ZR. Rain gear.
I would call out, it's rain season in California. It's been pouring. You know what I've been wearing?
What are you wearing?
The Quail Hunter.
Not to hunt quail, just to go pick up your latte.
It's an amazing, amazing rain jacket. It's got a hood. It's awesome. People comment all the time, like, where'd you get that rain jacket? Like non-golfers. Yeah, the pockets in the front
closes, and yeah, there's just ample pockets. Good stuff.
It's an awesome, awesome rain. I wouldn't recommend. That might be the highest recommendation I could give a Beadratty ZR. That's I'm so happy it's rain season. I got to bust it back out.
SGS30 works there as well. ZeroRestriction.com. Thanks to them for their support. Let's go to Sony.
All right.
Open.
Grayson Murray wins in a playoff over Ben On and Keegan Bradley. Keegan Murray. Thinking NBA. Yeah. Thinking about Kings. Thinking about my Kings.
What is that? Is that a Lipton? What is that iced tea? What is that, PJ? We're live.
Snapple half and half.
What's your go-to half and half? Is it Snapple?
I get it from a deli. You just walk
whatever
in.
They
got.
got.
I get a half and half. Yeah. No, they have their own iced tea and lemonade. They make it.
Oh, okay.
That's your favorite one.
Yeah.
Do you call it a half and half, or you call it Arnold Palmer?
A half and half.
What's your ideal spread What's your ideal if you're gonna break up the lemonade and the iced tea percentage wise? What's the ideal?
Got to be a lemonade guy.
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
like 60-40, 55-45, close, but leaning lemonade.
Leading lemonade.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're a half and half expert, I would say.
I drink a lot of it. It's probably bad for me, but
We got an entire gallon of it for the offsite for you.
Yeah.
You didn't make as big of a dent in it as I thought you were going to.
No, there was I didn't drink that much. I apologize. I'll be better next time.
You wasted that $3.99 half and half.
All
Gonna have
right.
to deduct it from your pay next pay period.
Oh my God.
I'm joking. So Grayson makes a 38-foot birdie putt on 18
18.
to win, and it was like this moment where I think just in general everybody's like, wow, look at this kind of redemption story. This guy's got his act together. He looks great. I mean, he was in great shape, and I think, and he had a fiance at the time, and obviously then later in this year in review, there will be tragic news, but it was thinking back to it, it was like a moment in the Grayson Murray story where you're like, wow, like he's figured this out. And, you think about the talent that he had and the skills, and it was never, it always felt like he could be a big time player. And this was a huge moment in his career, big win. And, it looked like everything was going up. So that was a big part of this week, obviously. And then it becomes a big part of the whole season with him. And then across the pond, Fleetwood wins in Dubai over Rory, who hit it in 5 water hazards. We'll get more into the weeds. That wasn't the story of Dubai. I don't know if you remember that. Maybe we'll just start there. Do you remember?
I remember. This was like this is not like the big event. It's like the hit and giggle they just created on the European tour.
It was like a 72-person
right?
invitational pro-am.
Yeah.
Do you
Not
remember what
field.
the story was?
I do now. The guy from Grove 23.
Ken Wyand.
Well, not an AM invite, but pro, right?
Invite,
one of 70
sponsor exemption. I have to say I've met Ken since this.
Oh,
Great guy. Delightful guy.
We sort of put his name up in lights that week. Not for all the right reasons.
Ken Wyand, director of golf, GM, COO of Grove 23, receives a sponsor exemption into the Dubai Invitational. And this, there's questions. Who's this Ken Wyand? He opens up with an 87.
I mean, a limited field. A lot of 70 guys.
No cut also.
Who does he know the shake? Why is this guy in the field?
No cut. 72 holes.
Oh, so he's just got to take his lashings. He's got to come back for 36 more and just keep.
I'm pretty confident we'll never have a spread like this in the men's pro golf, in the non-Champions Tour men's pro golf.
I was going to say I have quite a spread later, so we'll see.
Do you know?
What was it?
Do you know what the spread was?
We'll go. Let's go 62. He shot 87. 62.
87 over the first round.
Yeah.
He carded 7 bogeys, 3 doubles, and a triple. He made just 7 pars. He was 10 shots back of second to last after round 1.
So this was was the Earth course or what? It was a birdie fest.
What's your guess on spread, PJ? Brenda's at 62.
I think so. Seems low.
Yeah, I'll go Price is Right. I'll go 71.
So you were very close, PJ. 72. He finished exactly 1 shot a hole worse than Tommy Fleetwood for the week. Exactly 1 shot per hole worse.
I remember this. You're give him a stroke a hole.
A shot a hole. His rounds for the week, he went 87, 82, 82, 86. plus 53 on the week.
A shot a hole.
Shot a hole.
Limited field, no cut event. Did we find out like where he came from? Why he's in the Middle East?
This is just because he's a great guy. He's honestly
come on. There's
a
lots
great
of great
guy,
guys.
and he got an exception. I'm guessing. So he got an exemption probably because, you know what? Like, he's a nice guy, and he said he never played. He's a golf pro. He's never played in a PGA Tour or pro event. I'm guessing that there's just a hey, come on out and play. So
come on, the Prince probably went to Grove 23 or the Sheikh. They invited him into the field. That's kind of got to be what happened. Go
Eddie
ahead.
Pepperell tweeted, "Limited man field, and old Ken Wyan gets an invite and then does this. I don't care if he's Ken from Barbie. It shouldn't happen."
Pretty good. I forgot about.
It's a good
We
line.
need another. These kinds of, oddities really fuel us in the first quarter. Who is this club pro that ended up in this no cut
Ken
event?
Wyan.
All right.
So the other big thing going on is the onboarding gate. The PGA Tour
Rookies.
and all their genius modelers. So, this all stemmed from them restructuring the points and the way the tour set up. This was really created by the signature events. So what they didn't realize by expanding the Sentry field, they didn't think that the thing that was naturally going to happen if you expand the Sentry field were more tour pros were going to stick around in Hawaii. It's like, well, I'll just spend another week in Hawaii and play the Sony Open.
Yep. Yeah.
So as every Korn Ferry Tour player graduated, they assured them that they would be in the Sony Open field. They told them that they would be in the field, and so they did this onboarding the weekend before the Sony, mandatory onboarding in Hawaii the weekend before the Sony Open.
Like conferences, like onboarding, like educational seminars, right? Okay.
We had the itinerary at one point.
I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. It's somewhere, some deck.
And it's just like, it was like, this is where you go pick up your badge. This is where you pick up your car.
How not to get jumped by the sidewalk in Waialae.
They had, they flew out all of like PGA Tour middle management. And this was at the time where like the tour is soliciting private equity money because their cash flow burning. And it's like, oh, I'm sure like all of PGA Tour middle management coming out to Honolulu was cheap. This is an act of a organization that's trying to cut costs or, has a sustainable business model. So anyways, here's from our news. After fewer than half of the 30 Korn Ferry Tour graduates and none of the 5 Q School graduates got into this week's Sony Open on their numbers, those that opted to try and qualify through the Monday qualifier were hit with a torrential rain that rolled in Monday afternoon on Oahu. It isn't expected to fully clear until midday Tuesday. So all the guys that didn't get in, so 14 of the KFT graduates and then all 5 Q School graduates, they all go to play the Monday qualifier. This is great and all.
Poured on.
They get dumped on, so they have to stay another day or WD, get on the plane to leave. But anyways, the other aspect of this is the actual like preparing for a Monday qualifier. So these guys are all in there. They're paying for the Monday qualifier.
Seminar.
They're trying to play the Monday qualifier because the tour lied to them about being in the field. And the weekend, they're completely jammed up with meetings.
Meetings, yes.
They get like a slice of a real mid-am's life where like you have a tournament or a qualifier and like life hits you. You got like kids all weekend or you got a wedding on the weekend and you don't actually get to prepare for the event. So they have the Monday qualifier. So this is from Monday Q. According to multiple players, the tour. So this is the whole story. According to multiple players, the tour didn't foresee this happening. When the Corn Ferry Tour, and Monday Q was all over this.
Yeah.
When the Corn Ferry Tour ended last season, the PGA Tour cards were awarded the top 30 on the points list. Players were told by tour officials they would all be in the Sony field. The tour scheduled a mandatory 2-day orientation for rookies the weekend before the start of the Sony at Wiley and covered players' weekend travel costs. What the tour didn't count on was that many of those members were going to have to Monday qualify in because they weren't in the field. This weekend, players sat through meetings and presentations about the rules and regulations of the PGA Tour. Many of those players were thinking about how to shoot 8 under on Monday at Kapolei golf course without a practice round. One player in orientation said the tour wasn't able to secure a practice round for him. So he called Kapolei golf course directly and was able to get out before the first group teed off on the off this weekend. The last player in the field was Jimmy Stanger, who finished 16th on the Corn Ferry Tour season-long points list. So this was just a disaster. I think
for executive costs for players just to go sit in the seminar that could have been a Zoom.
I think I had this. I don't think any of the Corn Ferry Tour graduates got through, if I remember correctly.
On the
None
Monday
of them
queue.
got through.
Okay. All right.
I thought I wrote that down in here.
I thought one or two, but okay. All right. I thought maybe one or two did. Either way.
This was retirement week. Do you remember all the flurry of retirements this week? Announcements?
No. Golfers?
Sports. Just general sports.
No. What was it?
The golf retirements got completely overshadowed. Belichick is out.
Oh, okay.
Saban retires.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then on the golf side, Slumbers announces he's going to
Marty
retire
sleeps.
at the end of the year.
Okay.
And then also Pelly announces he's taking a new job with the Maple Leaf Sports Network.
ABC News. Okay. All right. All
So
right.
Pelly's out. In other greater sports media this week, Pat McAfee is getting back to normal after Aaron Rodgers, PJ's favorite athlete, had completely derailed the integrity of his show, the integrity that he had with his lobbing conspiracy theories, and then suggesting that Jimmy Kimmel would be wrapped up in the Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God.
So
Forgot about
McAfee announces that he's ending the Aaron Rodgers thing. The Aaron
Definitely
Rodgers,
not.
the season was over. It was announced that it wasn't concluded because Aaron Rodgers' team was eliminated from, the regular season. It wasn't because of that. It was a mandatory break, but it wasn't a long break.
No.
But anyways, McAfee's we're going to get back to normal stuff. And naturally, the next show, who goes on? Do you remember who appears on Pat McAfee?
Jay Monahan. Who was it?
Phil Mickelson.
All right.
They talk about Liv. And the big thing that came out of this was Phil's you know what? I think I'm too divisive at this point to be the 2025 Ryder Cup captain.
Oh, he said
I don't think I'm the right guy for the job.
pulls his name out of the running. Takes his name out of the running. Okay.
Also happening this week, according to James Corrigan and the Telegraph, Jay Monahan and Yasser had a lengthy conversation in recent days. Their first conversation since the framework agreement was announced on June 6th. 7 months later, they have a conversation. 7.
Unbelievable.
All right. Tiger and Nike officially part ways this week. There were just a lot of people posting the old Nike ads.
Yeah.
And
Getting their
just
engagement out of that. Yeah.
oh yeah. Everybody was It's one of the things when you just see like the engagement pandering going on.
Year in review is good for that.
Yeah. There's
Research.
engagement pandering, ripping of other people's stuff and just posting it as their own. Anyways, diverge. I diverge. Zalatoris and Gary Woodland returned. Gary Woodland is obviously from pretty like big names coming back. Gary Woodland from the Brain Leisures and that was like an incredible press conference when he was talking about like everything that went into what he was dealing with and him coming back and then obviously Zalatoris. It's announced that Farmers is saying goodbye after 2026, and this is just like and Wells Fargo also is rumored to be pulling out, and it's just this moment of like what's going on. This ties into the mandatory offsite in Hawaii. And it's just kind of like this moment. Webb Simpson's interviewed Shupak. Shupak's like a content god. And
all right,
this whole year, just interviews galore.
The Mule Whisperer.
Just putting the microphone, putting the recorder down.
Yeah.
Just let running the tape. And Webb talks with Shupak. The model is broken at the purse sizes we've been going on last year. And the sponsors are starting to feel it. Sponsors are pulling out. Wells Fargo, Farmers. There will probably be a couple more this year, I would think. Maybe one or two more. I hope not. But that's a lot of money to put up for a week, considering the price of stadiums and stadium sponsorships and all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, we deliver on the product where I'm like I'm close with the Wells Fargo people. They've been extremely happy until having to continue to increase their purse. And they just didn't feel like it was a good fit for them. So the product is really good. We've just got to sell it at the right price. Just kind of like pointing out.
Just felt, yeah. They had lost Liv. Sponsors are leaving. The golf was not great in the first quarter. It was not a good.
Are we still here? Like the ratings are going down and everything's just going up. Has anything changed? All they've done is sold off their soul to the private equity and shortly to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this is our favorite time of the year. Really, it's really usually very fun, and this year kind of stunk. The first all the way to the players. So,
an NFL playoff game. It is announced that it's going to be exclusively streamed on the Cock.
Yep.
And this was I love moments where greater sports gets to feel the pain of that golf fans experience all the time. And people are like, why is this happening? Like it was like a celebratory moment.
Oh yeah, they did.
They tried to make it a celebration. It's like, wait, everybody has to pay and download this fucking service to watch a playoff game.
I think it was a Chiefs game, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a Chiefs game.
Yeah.
And it was just like a moment where all of golf was like, just wait till you get there. Big sponsorship news. This was missed because he played with no sponsors the week of Kapalua. Maybe the greatest sponsor news of the year, topping the DeWalt Jason Day. It's hard to top.
No.
But
no.
1 day man per hour.
We're not doing this through
well, we're past an hour. We're past an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
1 per hour.
This is Tops Day Man. Patrick Cantlay announces a new sponsorship with Apollo Global Management.
Oh, heartwarming.
The private equity fund.
He went from Goldman Sachs. I forgot about this.
Announces Apollo.
Oh my God.
We'll see the company's logo on his hat starting next week at the Amex. And I remember a text from some friends that were very familiar, possibly in the space. And they said, Andy, you cannot believe how perfect of a company player match. This is Apollo and Cantlay. You couldn't find a better PE shop to match up with Cantlay. Like notorious for their antics,
their tactics.
Yeah, their tactics.
All right.
This is probably before. This is actually we haven't gotten to the Joe Ogilvy to strut that. If he wasn't a PGA Tour player, he'd probably be I always tell him he'd be a
distressed analyst. Yeah. God, I forgot about that.
So it's also now Cantlay is the company's first brand ambassador
for Apollo.
Oh
God. That's good. That's a good spot.
In Dubai, Rory talks about the idea of a world tour. Everybody gets all romantic about it. He says the Australian Open, for example, should be almost the 5th major. The South African Open is another I'd have in the mix, but it's just the Australian Open, the 5th major. Just got to the Aussies all.
Red meat.
I don't know if you remember this, but do you know who's rumored to be a possible leader for the new PGA Tour Enterprises?
Adam Silver. No, somebody crazy.
Brian Rolap.
Yeah, the NFL, the sub deputy or whatever. That's right.
NFL people were texting us like this would be just like a slam dunk.
He'd be amazing, right?
And instead we got Jay, right?
I think Jay, combination of like the Valero guy, maybe Gorder. I want to say Joe Gorder, who was already on the board. I think not a lot of external thinking. I think I don't know.
There's a SGS golf advice moment. This was a great golf advice. It was the push cart falling down the cliff at Cabot Cliffs.
Oh, did you go back and get it or something? Wasn't it hanging from the cliff?
I think the guy who rode in's dad's push cart got blown by the wind halfway down the cliff at Cabot Cliffs, but he was in the midst of a record round, his greatest round. And the question was, should he help his dad or finish the last 2 holes? And everybody got on me because I said, well, you should finish the last 2 holes. They're on the way to the clubhouse and the bag's not going anywhere. And everybody basically was like, what? You're not going to help your dad? And I said, I think my dad would like me to finish the round out.
Post the number.
And the bag wasn't going anywhere.
What?
It's not like his dad fell down the cliff. It was like hanging.
It's fair.
So they eventually got the bag back somehow. I don't remember how. And the one of the keys in the wallet were in the bag.
Oh yeah, that was like that made it more of a 5-alarm fire. That's right. There's
we'll get to a couple things that happened in the Sony real quick, but low point in Chicago Bulls history of all low points. Went from a high point. They had this Ring of Honor ceremony.
Oh God.
Where it was like all the feels. Like it was incredible. It was reliving the greatest run of NBA basketball ever. Greatest team.
Everybody's there almost.
Everybody's there. And nobody was there actually. Nobody was. Because Scottie Pippen's crazy. Jordan didn't show up.
Yeah. But all the
Phil Jackson was there. Kukoc
Kerr,
was
Luke
there.
Longley, those guys. Yeah.
It was the Warriors game, so Kerr was there.
Remember that.
The Bulls had like an incredible first half. They played incredible. I mean, they were like giving it to the Warriors. And then this moment happened. The fans, the United Center booed Jerry Krause's widowed wife. And then they came out and they like didn't make a shot for like the first 8 minutes of the third quarter.
God.
And it's like, no shit. That's what happens when you boo a widow.
Wasn't she crying?
Yes.
And then, like, the guys on the mic were like, "Can you not boo right now?"
Yeah, it was awful. It was an awful moment. All right. Somebody won an award this week.
No way.
What do you win?
Rory, did it go in?
What do you win?
This is why I got added to the soundboard for this episode. Blocky wins the 2023 PGA Professional Player of the Year.
No. No way.
No, it's not in the hole. They're just yelling about something else.
So Blocky, this is the end of the I think this is the final 2023 Blocky moment. This was the capper.
The longest tail of long tails. The Blocky Mania. All right.
Rory, did it go in?
I love that that's on the soundboard now.
Remember we asked Rory about that in the Little Ireland podcast? Like, no, Michael, they're all just going nuts for my shot to 30 feet.
No, he hit it 20 yards right of the green.
Oh, all right.
Remember, he hit it short right. Had like a terrible chip.
That's a good quip by Rory.
It was right at the end. He didn't get what we were asking. We had to ask like 10 times.
Rory, did it go in? No, Michael.
Rory, did it go in?
They're yelling for my shot.
All right, let's get to what happened. The few humorous moments. Toasty was photographed by Sukumba sitting cross-legged on a green, waiting for his playing partners.
We got a lot of Toasty tales this week. Him just walking ahead, entire holes and stuff. And Sukumba was on the ground. Yeah.
This was the place of his first caddy.
Oh, God.
Later on, this caddy told me that the Toasty, he described Toasty's play. He was on a high at this point because he was like, this guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's like, Toasty pulled driver on a few holes at Wailea. I've never seen somebody pull driver. And he's just hitting 320-yard piss bombs right into like a 15-yard window. I think he opened with like a 66, if I remember correctly.
I mean, this is his debut. KFD grad who got in the field, the rare one. This is his debut.
This was the moment where our years of a year plus of Toasty work, maybe a half a year work of Toasty tales.
Yep.
Mainstream media really glommed on.
They jumped on board.
They jumped on board with Toasty right here, right at this moment. This moment in time. For YouTube audience, get to see him sitting cross-legged was the moment that Toasty. This set the table for him driving the green at Valhalla. Another thing that happened, there was a wedding happening on the beach. On like Saturday. There's always like one of the best parts of Wailea is there's always like you have the Jordan Spieth smiley kayaking moment.
Yeah, it's right there, right up.
There's
the course.
like they cut to like a wedding that was happening. Like the groom and bride were like kissing. I should have gotten PJ this visual too. On the beach, everybody goes nuts because it's like, what season of Love Island is this? You know. Do you remember Dropgate from Wailea?
Vaguely, just because it bled into the next week. The virtual certainty thing. They never found his ball, right? Yeah. Oh, God. Who was it?
So Carl Yuan.
Okay.
Carl Yuan on the 72nd hole. Yuan hit his approach well out to the right, either hitting or flying over the right greenside grandstand.
What hole was this? 18?
18.
Which they backboard already. It's a par 5.
He hit it over the grandstand. Over it.
Just boom. Touch them all.
The ball was never found. Yet Yuan was granted relief from a temporary immovable obstruction. The grandstand. That he
didn't know where it was.
Very clearly just bombed it over. He
was trying to backboard it, right?
Trying to backboard it, hit it over it. Because PGA Tour rules official Ken Tackett said they were virtually, quote unquote, virtually certain Yuan's ball was lost in the grandstand somewhere. Well, the visual evidence showed it flying over the grandstand. Tackett also said they talked with people inside the tent that they believed the ball was somewhere in the suite.
Who are half in the bag, just been drinking spritzes all day. These are the people
So this was
ruling
like
on this $1 billion industry. All right,
this happened. So Yuhan went on to make par on the hole, grabbed the clubhouse lead for the moment. So like this happened.
Oh,
and
I
he
didn't
was
know
leading.
that.
He
I
was
didn't know he was
leading
in
the tournament.
Oh, God. Incredible.
And this obviously like opened up the whole gates of like, wait, like people are betting on this sport and this happened. And like we went down like a whole rabbit hole of like, what are you virtually certain of?
Yeah. Right.
Like, like, so anyways, like the other thing that was like pointed out, if he takes a lost ball, he makes a double and he gets like significantly less. He finished T4 on the event, significantly less FedEx Cup points. And everybody will say, oh, he didn't win. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. This is like common retort of like all the people that say when you get mad about this stuff in the moment, people are like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It fucking does. Do you know what place Carl Yuan finished in the FedEx Cup this year?
I'm going to say like 120 something. 120.
128.
Oh.
Like people are yelling about Joel Damon. This
Yeah.
is even crazier when you look back on it because Carl Yuan shouldn't have finished T4. He lost his ball. He hit it over a grandstand and wasn't penalized, made par, and picked up like honestly like 100 FedEx Cup points. So if you drop him down 100 FedEx Cup points, instead of 128, he would be 156. He's going to get so many more starts next year because of this drop.
I mean, yeah. Think about all the rulings that aren't done in the crucible of the last hour of a broadcast. Yeah. Sort of a Pandora's box. It's crazy. The virtually certain line was just an all-timer. When we saw it go over, it's somewhere in the grandstand. We don't know. But here's your TIO. While he's backboarding. With no one backboard situation. We've seen that for years there. Players go for it in two.
This was all day. It was just free drop, free drop, free drop. All week, free drop. Then one guy fucking misses the grandstand. And he gets a free drop.
He missed.
And he can't find the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyways, that's it. That does
a big one.
That does it for Hawaii. How are we doing on time? How are we doing?
We're doing fine. We're great.
We're
in
at
good shape.
an hour 22.
We've done 2 events. Can I just real quick? The orientation gate might be my favorites. I'm so mad I couldn't find the run of show or whatever, the deck they sent the players. We have it. I just found an old Brentley tweet. Again, these guys are trying to Monday qualify. They had to fly all the way to Hawaii for a start they didn't get. Brentley tweet. Today's itinerary started with breakfast at 8 a.m. and ends with a 2-hour quote, luau on the ocean lawn from 7 to 9. The 11 rookies are in tomorrow's Monday qualifier, won't get a practice round. They have to do this luau for 2 hours. They're doing breakfast. They're doing seminars. They're not in the field. They had to fly. Luau on the ocean lawn.
This was like
God.
one of the worst weeks for the PGA Tour Q rating. You had the orientation gate to start off the week. Then you went to the sponsors dropping. And then to cap off the week, you get a late Sunday free drop for somebody hitting it over a grandstand and not being able to find the ball.
All right. Well, I wouldn't say business picked up at the American Express. That's where we're going next. We get news from Flushing It, the Twitter account, Flushing It Golf. Wyndham Clark has been in negotiations to join Live Golf since before Christmas and is moving ever close to the deal. Not 100% confirmed yet. He would join John Rahm's Legion 13 with Wyndham Clark, Caleb Surratt, and Kieran Vincent. Wyndham would go on to win like a week later at Pebble and talk about some of his dalliance with Liv, but this is the news to start it. This is MX. Big, actually, business picked up. For the golf, it was like a great weekend in golf. You had an amateur winning, first time since Phil, Nick Dunlap. Rory wins in Dubai for the 4th time. And Lydia Ko won the Tournament of Champions deal down in Orlando area. Like, it was just like kind of a good Sunday of winners.
The issue with the Dunlap win, historic moment, incredible win. But it was going up against, was it Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
AFC Championship game.
I mean, yeah, the chatter was pretty quiet. I was like, why aren't there a lot of tweets about this? Oh, everybody's like watching.
It was like a
other stuff.
Literal like sports moment, a greater sports moment.
Yeah.
And you're going up against like what the number 2 rated event of the year?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep. Annual tradition, shot tracker and scoring are just a disaster. First mainland event, Continental, like everybody's shouting about the shot tracker off, the scores are off. They've got 3 venues. This is just an annual tradition at this point. We learned the Swing 5 is branded. Aon comes in. It was like this was off the board in Vegas. That you could bet that they were going to get this sold, and it is sold. The Aon Swing 5 and Next 10. There's a report in The Athletic. I think this is mostly from a soccer angle, that Yasser Al-Rumayyan is facing a lawsuit for allegedly carrying out the wishes of MBS to sort of basically ruin this guy's life. Former manager of some fund, like his kids are imprisoned in Saudi Arabia. There was allegedly a hitman squad sent to Canada to find this guy. And this is like a big report in The Athletic. And it's Yasser's face. He's going to face the lawsuit from this former expat, a Saudi expat, who says, they were coming for this guy. They've maybe tortured and imprisoned his kids. And Yasser has carried out this, campaign against the guy they don't like anymore. And so we're like, all right, is this now a PGA Tour problem? This sovereign entity's, bad deeds or alleged bad deeds are now a golf problem. This guy is like a face of golf. He's like running golf. And so this became a very hot story. It was mostly from the Newcastle soccer angle, but of course, allegedly Jay Monahan was in Saudi Arabia at this time talking. Bad timing for this report. It got a billion retweets and everything was into it. Yeah.
I think Jay is like, he doesn't do himself any favors. Yeah. But I have to say that he has maybe the worst luck with timing. Of any individual in the world.
Yep.
Like it's just like, it's unbelievable that like no matter what, it almost always like when he's going to do something comes at the worst time to do something.
Right. So this was a very, very big story at the time. Rory has more comments about World Tour after his win in Dubai. He's like all in on global. Says the word global like 20 times in a 1 minute stretch. Also did a total drive-by of Kapalua after winning in Dubai. So, that didn't look very good. Especially if you see, you look at the event at Kapalua a couple weeks ago. It's supposed to be one of the big signature events. You see the ratings that did on TV. It's not, I would say they were quite underwhelming compared to some of the other events. So, like, Liv guys are pouncing on this. He had, like, some sort of more softened quotes. He's popping Kapalua. They're like, Rory, what's going on here? U-turn. And so the opportunity is global. They're massive events of America, but we have history and tradition, but we have to take it elsewhere. I think with Adam Scott being on the board, seeing the bigger picture of things, I think that's a good thing. At the Amex, Daniel Berger returns. This is a big thing. Like, we haven't seen him. Is he still a golfer? What's going on? Hayden Springer opens with the 28 just a few months after his daughter had passed in his first start, and just retained his card. I think he's 125th. Hayden Springer now.
Lots of low scores in Q1.
That's true.
60s, 59s,
which we all remember well. Yeah. Kisner went from the booth to featured group. So he was calling the golf. Now he's a featured group with Billy Ho. Amex didn't have a bad field. I think Scheffler was in it. Cantlay Xander. Like, it was a good field for that. What else happened? The money stuff was great. You were hollering about Seabez and how he got into like Atlanta. Seabez essentially got a win this week because Nick Dunlap's amateur. He forfeits all his points, forfeits his money, and then the Seabez essentially won this week via the points. So that was a good one that you had a big day for Seabez at the MX. We had a bunch more toasty. Zach Johnson, I think this was the first time he used his career money exemption. And you were like, this guy can't. He had just, obviously, the Ryder Cup was still fresh. This guy can't be on tour anymore. We can't be giving him starts. He opens with a 62. Like, we had just done 10 minutes on Zach not getting up, and he just pops us right back in the face. 62, leading 10 under. What else? Keith Pelly said he echoed the global. So these guys, the DP World Tour is just hammering the global, trying to find their way in the world. The focus needs to be the growth of the game is global. This is where it needs to be. Fenway Sports Group owns Liverpool. They understand the importance of global. PIF understands the importance of global. This is a global game. Every business now growing wants to be global. What I would like to see is the game becoming more unified with a global strategy. I think the PGA Tour is coming to the realization is global is the key for growth. They have heard me say it once or twice. We just heard you say it 25 times. So Pelly, a lame duck, but kind of trying to. These guys haven't spoken out, right? Trying to force the PGA Tour's hand much, but he's a lame duck, and now he's trying to say, "Hey, you guys got to like really integrate us more, and this needs to be more than just an American tour." What else happened? Amateur wins on the first time in 33 years. Scheffler, Cantlay, Schauffele were all headliners, but it was Dunlap that takes the cake. He was the first Alabama. He was a sophomore, obviously, at the time. He'd won the USAM, US Junior Am, so we're like all hyped. He's the first person since Tiger that's done that. He he had a tough fight. He was against Sam Burns and JT were in his group. Sudden Sam Burns, who kind of was.
What are you talking about? He was up against only Seabez. JT didn't make the P Cup team. Seabez did.
Well, Sam Burns was pretty disappointing finish for him. But this was amazing. Like Dunlap hit it in the water on the 7th. Like his lead was totally gone. I think he shot a 60, I want to say, on Saturday. Had a 4-shot lead, lowest score ever for an amateur. Thought he had a 2-shot lead coming down the last hole, but he played it safe and cleaned it up and won. Beat Sam Burns, tied Sam Burns on the 16th. Burns just, I think, dumped it in the water on the Alcatraz hole, and he made a nervy par. Dunlap saves on the last hole to win. So a good field, good finish, but like you said, not a lot of people watching it. Kind of a tough collapse for Sudden Sam Burns. There's this big, is JT back movement? Data golf, like looking at the data golf cross tabs. He's played really good golf in the fall, played good golf, this week. Pebble Riviera coming up that fit well. And they're like, is JT back?
Well, there's a lot of people saying this is why he got picked to the Ryder Cup team.
Well, yeah, they were slam dunking him. That's right. So Dunlap's in the hunt.
Should we check in on the world ranking right now?
Sure, you can do that.
Oh boy.
But this was a big one.
Let's see. Where's he at right now? Where is he? 25. So
okay.
I don't think he's back. He's
not back. But
I am excited.
Hasn't won.
Have you seen the speed training he's doing?
No. Oh yeah. I did.
Picked up some of that. That could be a game changer for him. Honestly, that could be.
Doesn't he still? Is that putting? Doesn't he have to still putt?
Well, he's like categorically one of the worst putters, maybe ever.
Okay. We'll talk JT next year for sure. Nick Saban. So this was Brandel in the tower. So we're doing the merry-go-round in the tower. Brandel on the call. It's Brandel and Terry Gannett, and Nick Saban, just freshly retired, joins the broadcast with the Alabama guy, and the Jay Sewell coach is there. You know, he flew in, made it. Nick got plenty of camera time. He got there in time, 18th green. He's jumping around. But Saban also, this is as like people are fleeing. Caleb Downs, the portal, like the guys, the Alabama people are fleeing the program. And Saban's just, you know, putting his feet up. And I tweeted, Brandel needs to ask Saban about the portal because like he's obviously pissed. Like, guys, stay. So he's on the broadcast. What else happened? Oh, Rory was hitting the original TaylorMade driver, the original one in Dubai. This was like a little social video. 168 miles an hour, 252 carry. The other one was 162, 244. So like harder to hit for him than the Persimmon. And they were hard.
Those original metal woods are fucking terrible. I have a bunch of them. I think I've got like 3 of them in the shed, and they're legitimately terrible.
They're not good. Speaking of clubs, we are just incredulous that retailers are selling the Michael Block hole-in-one 7-iron, but not the actual club.
No way.
No way. Not like his 7-iron, but here are the specs, and you can buy it. Just ridiculous. For like $80. Here's the 7-iron you can buy with the Project X rifle. So, you know, just ridiculous. This is the one. This is the same kind of club you use.
Insane thing to sell.
Rory wins in Dubai, beats Cam Young. Just Sunday struggle bus again for Cameron Young. Rory wasn't great. He was good, but not great. Had to miss the lefts. Adrian Marunk still on the DP World Tour. Flashed for a minute,
but get to Marunk, man.
But he couldn't do it. And this was a week after he blew the 72nd hole lead. He was 10 shots back. He went 63-70 on the weekend. He was 10 shots back at the midpoint, and beats the field with sort of a middling Sunday. Hit the lefts for a minute, but wins in Dubai. Very pumped about that. This was also on the European Tour. Fleetwood, Hatton, Højgaard, Nicolai all did confirm they had been approached by Liv, but they were staying put. Hatton said, he was quite happy playing the BGA and DP World Tours, and they were asked him, as of right now, yeah, he was spurning Liv's advances. So as of right now, yeah. LPGA, Lydia Ko wins the Tournament of Champions. Aldridge Potgieter. The Potgieter wins the Abaco Classic, which was his start March to a PGA Tour card. Another burly boy. And then we get news in the newsletter and elsewhere. TaylorMade had filed a trademark for what we just thought was a 2-word phrase at that time. Sunday Red in December. This comes out that TaylorMade had filed the trademark for Sunday Red. That's your Amex. Nick Dunlap, first amateur to win in 33 years. Your American Express update. Let's go to. Are we bringing in the reliever? We bringing in new fresh blood?
Are we still on episode 1?
Still on episode 1.
We're
closing it out.
Episode 1. Here we go.
Oh, PJ's indoctrination here.
Warming up.
Your interview.
Let's see your research process.
I was going to say,
how did it go? How was the research?
I got to admit, I'm incredibly daunted right now. I got to make sure I have enough stuff here.
You're
but
fine.
I felt
You're
good.
fine. The less is more. I thought I had nothing, and it went forever on Sony.
Yeah.
Personally, well, with this one, the Farmers, my favorite part was this is a Wednesday through Saturday event because it's Championship Sunday in the NFL. So I go back through Twitter and search this week, seeing everybody tweet about the Lions' collapse in the NFC Championship game was a really healthy thing for me. So I really enjoyed getting this week to relive that experience. So this is the start of Pavone Mania.
Take Natty Pavone.
What did his tattoo say?
Hold on, I have that. Let me pull it up. Where are we? Where I see this is
that is out of control.
I have. Oh God!
I didn't laugh about the kids being the Saudi guys kids being kidnapped and tortured. I didn't laugh about that, damn it. Chat is out of control. Says a bad story.
We got to do a chat contest maybe the
All
next time.
All right.
Pavon's tattoo as he's holding up the trophy is translated from French. Quote, "The saliva that flows now will become the tears of joy tomorrow." Okay.
Saliva?
Saliva.
Lost in translation.
Yeah.
Had to be.
So Pavon wins the Farmers for his first PGA Tour win. He throws a dart on 18 to birdie from the rough to beat Nikolai Højgaard. There is a huge little controversy with this shot from the rough as he is walking behind his ball and kind of patting the rough down to perhaps
He was like 200 yards ahead of everybody too.
Yeah.
He like ran up there.
Pavon.
Yeah, I remember this. What? Yeah, there were.
This
people
was a
trying.
big Twitter discussion about did he or did he not fluff his lie, pat down the rough behind his ball before hitting his approach into the green. He was
This
kind
would
of
have been a year after the Reed thing, probably too, right? At Farmers,
Yeah.
right when he put his thumb down,
Mhm.
embedded ball game. Okay,
2
all right, go
years,
ahead.
maybe 2 years,
maybe two.
maybe 3. Actually,
I was
definitely.
glad.
Well, it was before Live. It was at least
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Even
4, maybe 4
IBF
years
was
ago.
top. All right.
Oh my God,
We're old.
where's the time going?
So we have that from Sunday, his final shot. He's kind of leaking oil. He bogeys 17. He could bogey 18. He has 2 consecutive shots in the rough, but hits a great shot out of a potentially fluffed lie to birdie 18 to win. This leaderboard was really, really something.
I remember it being tough, right?
Yeah.
Tough scene.
This
Okay.
is Pavon, Højgaard, Nate Lashley, Jake Knapp, Steven Yeager, Kevin Yu, Bo Hustler as your top 6. So you guys, big point on the Sunday podcast was going over your favorite quad A players because Steven Yeager was like up
He
by
got-
4 at the 54
Got out of the
hole
quad
lead.
A. He got promoted this year.
So there was, I
Beat
believe it was
Scotty.
Jeff Manto and Tony Campana were the 2. Tony Campana was a good pull.
I love Tony Campana.
So Pavon becomes the first Frenchman to win on tour since World War II, according to the PGA Tour, which leads everybody to wonder why Martin Traynor is not being acknowledged as a French winner, as he won in 2019. So that was definitely since World War II. Jim Nantz does his Open to Saturday from the Ravens locker room, just kind
Not
of
in the
standing
super
there.
booth.
Not in the super booth, just standing in the Ravens locker room, waiting for the AFC Championship game to begin. On the LPGA Tour on Sunday during Conference Championship weekend, Nelly and Lydia Ko are in a playoff. Lydia Ko in the, I believe it's the Drive On Championship.
Sounds right.
Lydia Ko would would clinch the Hall of Fame. And her shot in the playoff, her approach shot, she hits an errant shot that goes towards the back of the green where they have her Hall of Fame trophy and roses staged in case she wins to give a celebration on the 18th green.
God, they mushed her.
Yeah,
They mushed it.
so the ball rolls up against the trophy and the roses. It's a very funny visual from Beth Ann Nichols tweeted out a picture of it. So Nelly, her first win of obviously a crazy season. What else do we have? Nikolai Højgaard is caught peeing in the bushes by the CBS drone.
The overhead.
Yeah.
Those Danes love to urinate where they're not supposed to.
Your tweet was not the only Danish golfer to be peeing where he's not supposed to in recent memory. So that was
Piss bears.
speaking of Piss Bear,
Won.
Piss Bear wins this week on the DP World
Oh, I
Tour.
don't remember that.
Yes, he
Wow.
wins on the DP World Tour to get back into a position for a Masters exemption in a couple weeks here.
And earned his status back on the PGA Tour.
Yep. Yep. So Piss Ferret, this is the first plotting for the return. Among other things, Siwoo signs with Bad Birdie and gets out of his PGA Tour attire with a very funny video that has a Siwoo him back tattoo superimposed on his back. Andy, you tweeted the screenshot of it. So they are claiming that Siwoo has a Siwoo him back tattoo of himself in this video that gets him out of his PGA Tour apparel deal. Jay Lindbergh reveals the Team USA golf attire for the Olympics, which was a lot of Victor Hovland-esque red, white, and blue like paint splatter shirts that I don't actually remember the Olympics being that bad of attire. So maybe they got talked out of this.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of Twitter catnip. Nick Dunlap goes pro. That is like the big midweek news following his win. In his press conference at Alabama, he gives a shout out to Alabama's trainer that worked him through a shoulder injury and a ruptured eardrum ahead of the NCAA championships. He's just listing a laundry list
of the trainer work you through an eardrum? Like, what do they do?
Crazy injuries.
Okay.
So shout out to that guy. Blocky plays the Farmers.
Oh, he played the Amex as well. This was Blocky season. I don't think I had him score pulled up.
No.
I was just going to the soundboard. I was just going to the soundboard.
He went 72, 71, and then 67 at Amex, and people thought he was getting hot. He missed the cut by like 6.
Well,
but people were worried that he was going to put a scare in the cut.
Next, he starts off the Farmers birdie, and everybody is losing their mind. He actually shoots a 3 under.
Did it go in?
He ends at 3 under on Wednesday, and he's 3 under. The cut is going to be 4 under on Thursday for the weekend. He's still at 3 under, 4 under cut through 9 holes. Completely leaks on the back 9, shoots a 76 to miss the cut.
Oh, that's right.
But he was hanging around for a while.
He blew a tire coming in. That's right.
He was hanging around for a little while. You guys are at the PGA show this week, doing the podcast from Orlando. Brendan, you are just completely overwhelmed by the Sentry blitzkrieg of the PGA Pro PGA show, talking about HJ gloves and putt buddies and all of the golf cart makers on the show floor. You had a lot of fun with that in the newsletter. The match is announced for the park in Palm Beach with Max and Rory versus Lexi and Rose Zhang.
Was announced on this pod way before that.
Well, formally announced. And then this was a big point of the I believe it was the Friday podcast. Jim McClain has a tweet about him and Butch Harmon discussing at a funeral that they were left off of the top teachers list.
Blackburn was number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I had this in the Sentry. We missed this. Go ahead. Yeah.
They were going back and forth at a funeral, and they were not happy about how the young guns were rising up the ranks, and they were left off the top teachers list. So that was a big point of contention for the podcast.
Didn't they come up with basically a legacy list, like a legends list?
Yes, that was what came out of that. Outside of that, Potgeider wins on the Korn Ferry Tour. You hit that, but the big news of the week was Dylan Teixeira announced has the first rumors or real concrete idea that Anthony Kim is discussing a return to either the PGA Tour or LIV. He feels like he's ready. He's talking to both governing bodies and wanting to get involved.
Can I play a little revisionist history?
Sure.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to play professional golf.
I was going to bring that up because you, in the newsletter that week, you wrote a couple paragraphs on AK wanting to come back. You end it with, quote, "Here's to hoping Anthony Kim is playing and playing well somewhere next year." And quote, "I wanted to give you the floor to, knowing what we know now, thoughts on that."
I think actually I would side with Garrett Morrison of Fried Egg, who tweeted just I think I remember him tweeting, "Are we sure we want AK to come back?" And I think that's where I land now.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ready for what we've gotten from AK, but this was the first week people were very, very excited about
Big deal.
Yeah, the idea of him coming back. You guys go back and forth on, is he going to live? Is he going to PGA Tour? As if every PGA Tour sponsors exemption would not be happy to have AK in the field. Obviously, nobody knew whether he was able to compete or not at this point. But this was the first big AK concrete reveal of the comeback week. So that's all I got for Tory. Not too much going on with the very disgusting leaderboard. Yeah.
Pavon, who had staying power. He stuck around.
He did stick around.
Played in the final group at the US Open. All right, that does it for part 1 of the year in review. If you're on YouTube, we're gonna just motor right through. Is that all right? You good, Andy? You need to you
we're
good? You feeling?
I'm
we're gonna motor right through to part 2 on YouTube.
We're gonna
but
have
that does it for
we're gonna
part
have
1.
a first ever post recorded intro in Shotgun Start
Greetings
history.
and welcome. Yeah. So we'll do that after, but let's just keep rolling. Thank you for listening to part 1, and we're going to part 2 on the podcast. All right, where we
got
at?
a clap for PJ.
Thank you.
PJ wanted us to clap.
Thank you.
Really? I forgot.
Yeah. All right, we're going to AT&T. Fresh off Pavon's win. It was Pavon mania.
I
mean,
been not a great stretch so far.
Awful.
Very bad.
So this would have been CBS's second telecast. They don't get their first Sunday telecast. They have to wait till Riv for the first Sunday telecast because Pebble Beach is rain shortened. It was supposed to be just this like spectacle Sunday Pebble, best players in the world playing for the first time. The decks, the sea is parted. The NFL is off. You're in the gravy spot. You've got the NFL off, and there's nothing else on TV except for golf. And it's like, and you know what comes barreling down on their asses? Do you remember what it's called?
Pineapple Express?
No, is this the bomb cyclone?
No, this was just an atmospheric river.
Okay.
Wasn't a Pineapple Express.
0 for 2 on that.
I remember being on the ground explaining to people the difference is like how's the winds in Hawaii. Like that's when you get like the Pineapple Express and all that. So it comes barreling down on their asses. Everybody's dismissing what the plight of atmospheric rivers. I think this was like the time of the year when the shed door was just blowing open all the time. It was a tumultuous winter here. Just getting pounded with rain. Could have been the beginning of the end for the shed as a recording studio. When it became uninhabitable for the winter, that's when it does.
Shed door blew open like that Sunday recording, right? The pod. I think
Yeah.
It kept, like, oh, there it goes. Boom. And then, while we're recording.
So, anyways, the Wyndham Clark wins based off the Saturday, and one of the things, so he shoots at 60 on Saturday. We'll get into that a little bit, but one of the things that when you look back, key awareness, aware that is probably going to be a Saturday finish. He cozies his eagle putt on 18, which was for 59. He kind of like lags it up there. Didn't really give it a full go, I would say, for the 59. Could have, real chance at shooting 59 at Pebble. Cozy it up there. So he beats out Ludwig by 1 and Pavon by 2. If he runs that by, like very savvy move, lagging the putt up there. But anyways, what happens because of this? Do you know what happens because of the rain out on Sunday? Who it just opens up the door to?
Liv Mayakoba.
Liv Mayakoba gets center stage. All of golf is watching Liv Mayakoba on Sunday. And the top 10 delivers. So Joaquin Niemann wins that. top 10 also includes Sergio, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Cam Smith, all of whom had won major championships since 2017 and were amidst coming off of a Pavone win, a Chris Kirk Sentry win, and a Grayson Murray, just not an inspiring early start to the first quarter, especially after the year before with like the flurry of big name winners. And we get like this awesome live leaderboard. There were also like people were just like, this telecast is better, like more shots, like, just like some graphics features. Like it was a real moment for live. It turns out that the momentum didn't carry over.
Weren't the ratings negligible still? Like I remember there were like, it was like, well, I mean, you have an advantage on CBS. Didn't the tape delayed coverage, like, wasn't it like 11x?
This is still when they had the caffeine numbers.
I forgot about a company that no longer exists, right? Didn't they?
They're a streaming giant, caffeine.
Yeah.
So anyways, a little bit about Ludwig or about Wyndham 60. A lot of chat because it was ball in hand. And it set the course record by 2. There's a lot of talk like, should this count as a course record? So he made 9 birdies, 3 of which came on holes where he missed the fairway. But en route to 60, he left putts dead center short on 16, 17, and 18. So he was within inches of a 57, and he bogeyed the 12th. So he shot 60 with a bogey on his card. I think like a lot of people were just like, you know what? Like this shouldn't count at Pebble as the course record.
Right.
But it is. Right. It is. It's again.
That's it. They kept it. It's got the sticker on it. Maybe this was done with Preferred Lies, the yellow sticker. Okay.
All right. There's a lot that happened this week. This was the SSG week. Announced that they came in. But before that, there's all kinds of drama. It was announced the day. There's all kinds of drama with like Rory and Spieth. So Rory was asked earlier the week if a win would be cheapened given the number of top players not there anymore. So like Hatton's gone. That was one thing PJ missed in Torrey. Not to critique your work, but
I had that as a Monday, so I didn't know where the overlap was before your week.
There is overlap. It's hard to decide who gets what. The ball.
You know what? The general rules are as the presenter, you just body whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And then the next person, it's you get to complain that you took something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so there's just a ton of drama this week. The SSG stuff's announced. It's like a dire moment. The announcement. It's like, okay.
Why is it a dire moment?
Well, it was like all this is great, but there's like no mention of anything about fans.
Okay.
Like it's like we're gonna like this is great. Like there's Arthur Blank is like talking about how great it is.
Oh,
he's just talking.
I
think this was actually in Riviera week, which is coming up. But like he talked about like how great it is for like the players, just like this moment in time where it's like, I mean, it's going on right now with Jersey Mike subs, right? Private equity buys them. And people are like, oh shit, like they're gonna ruin Jersey Mike's, right? Like they do everything, and that's kind of just the general thought about the private equity money. So Rory was asked if a win would be cheapened by a number of top players not being there anymore, and he replied, "Yeah, I'd like to win here and stand up with the trophy on 18 green and know I've beaten all the best players in the world. So yeah, like first, person just to be like, yeah, like." I mean, this is where Rory's like, we need to get the game together. And meanwhile, the other side of the tour, like there's a clear schism in leadership.
Yeah.
And on the other side, Jordan Spieth in his press conference being like, we don't need the Saudi money. Now we got SSG money. We don't need it,
Yeah, I remember this. I remember this. We could use it if we want, but we don't need it. We're good.
Yeah. Then it comes out that Rory left a text chain of the top players of the game. Just the classic Rory McIlroy
conversation.
has left this conversation.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
And then it comes out that Rory had an hour-long conversation with Spieth that week after the like comments
boy.
about like we don't need the PIF money.
God, I forgot about this. Like the golf stinks, but there's all this sort of palace intrigue. I forgot he said this win would be cheapened. You've got a signature event, AT&T paying $1 billion to be there. I forgot about that.
Well, we're not done with some of the drama of the week.
Okay.
We got Exemption Gate.
Yeah, sure.
Exemptions. So this is the first real signature event of the year. You had Sentry, but this is the first real signature event. And everybody, like there's the mules are mad because the swing, they feel like they were hoodwinked with the swing 5. They felt like they thought that the winners of events that weren't otherwise exempt were automatically going to be added into the signature events. And they felt hoodwinked because those winners like Dunlap and who else was the other one that won? Pavon were actually put at the top of the swing 5. So they felt like they had lost 2 spots. So the mules were really upset about what happened with the swing 5. They felt like they had lost 2 spots. And then now we get the exemptions, and they go to Webb Simpson, Pepe Peter, and Charlie Hoffman, who are all PAC members or all policy board members. And then the final exemption goes to the AT&T ambassador, Maverick McNeely, who isn't even part of the top 125. So they are irate because he's in like the 126 to 150 category. They are irate. I ask you, Brendan, who do you think's there to gather the mules' feelings?
The mule whisperer himself, who you call the content god, I believe. This is king, Adam Schupak, Golf Week.
So Schupak does an article, all with anonymous quotes.
Oh God! So giving them anonymity in this moment feels like kind of generous. Like, put your name on it.
It's filled with quotes. I just decided to just keep. I just picked 2 out of this article.
All right.
This is, also keep in mind, like the political atmosphere right now. You got Biden in office. You got, knowing the ties of the tour mostly lead to, conspiratorial, right-wing policies with some of this stuff. It seems like collusion, a political game that should never happen on tour, said one veteran player. It's very shady, if you ask me.
I mean, I don't think that's the most baseless thing. They're policy board members and their exemptions. Like, I don't think you're talking too crazy there. Okay.
Well, Adam Scott would have gotten in if he wasn't in Switzerland or whatever.
Yeah.
This one, I love this one because this would never have been the quote if it wasn't anonymous, which is like the whole problem with giving people anonymous quotes.
Call out names? What do you say?
Peter Malnati has zero business getting an invite into a signature event, and Webb shouldn't really either, a veteran pro said. It just seems fishy.
Pepe Peter. He's just there to frolic around on the beach.
Well,
hit some golf shots.
Pepe Peter won later in the year. He earned his way into signature events later in the year.
He did.
So,
I was taking spots at Wentworth.
Hatton jumps to live, and it's also announced it was allegedly $50 million. It was also announced the Legion 13 team name and Ram and Hatton and Kieran Vincent and Caleb Surratt. So Ram leaves, and it's like These are the guys he's playing with. Ramen Hatton, 2 bona fide top 15 players, are playing with Kieran Vincent and Caleb Surratt. Caleb Surratt was interesting because he's this Walker Cupper, but Kieran Vincent.
It was pretty funny during the Amex week. Phil, who the last amateur to win, shouted out like these young talents. He's like Nick Dunlap, like Gordon Sargent. Then he throws in Caleb Surratt. Like he had like it was a great college player. Like, but had to know that he was coming to live, or did know already. So, go ahead.
So on that, so Rom then has a press conference at the live event where he confirmed that he named the team after an army that repeatedly failed to invade a village in France.
I forgot about this article. I think I went crazy on this article on live.com or whatever.
So he wins the first event, which obviously, made
He
Legion
won?
13 they won the team event, which
Okay.
obviously made, Legion 13 fans, longstanding Legion 13 fans, proud because they finally saw their military win. But John, I think his exact quote is, "I wanted to go down the warrior spirit mythology side for the team's name. The term loyalty is very important for me. I think it embodies this warrior spirit through its decisive and ready for battle mindset. During the Roman Empire, there was an iconic Legion 13 Gemina." And Gemina, is that how you spell it? Say it? Gemina?
Yeah,
In
I took
Caesar's
Latin
army.
years ago. Okay.
They believed in the credo of faithful loyalty, which is fascinating given
not high marks
loyalty
for
shown.
self-awareness there. All right.
Rom then outlined the significance of the 13 in the name, which is relevant for some of Liv's releases this week.
Yeah.
The 13 portion of the name was appealing early in the process as it fit the structure of the captain of Captain X and its 3 players in his lineup. So X, 1, 2, 3, and it's the 13th team.
Yep.
So he said, plus we're the 13th team in the league. Now, Liv's comms department always on the ball. They are, this is the same department that acted like they had a player draft when it was all fixed, as we found. This is, they're always on the ball. They have this high profile signing. They formally announced, so Marunk's gone, over here now too. They formally announced the rosters. And what do? They misspell.
Wrong guys?
They misspell John Rahm's name.
No, with an H, John or something.
An H in his name. So
that's a frequent one. They are frequently misspelling their own players' names.
Always misspell. They also, in another graphic, put mark Legion 13, Legion 12. They forget one.
Roman numerals can be hard.
So this is just a rough week for PG or for Live Comms. They put a picture up. They put a picture up, and PJ, I'm gonna send this. I'm gonna see how quick you are. So they put a picture up, and some of the players, one of the teams doesn't have their uniforms.
Oh, right.
So they're all in the uniforms except for Marunk's team. What's Marunk's team?
He's a clique.
The cliques do not have their uniforms in time. So it's everybody in Live in their uniforms except for the cliques, who are like very much in the back. And like you wouldn't notice this unless you were looking at the picture very closely. But they missed
their normal scripting, like Nike or something like that. Okay.
There's like, Blandy's at the back, and none of them are in their clear gear except for, I think, Keimer, the team. They don't have a team captain, actually, but he's not. So PJ didn't get it up fast enough.
Here we
Maybe
go.
We'll
It's loading in.
It's loading in.
new
It's great for the podcast
processing.
episodes.
Yeah.
Love this.
Well, another thing. Here we go. So if you look at the top row there, they're just
He's not even in the right colored shirt.
no.
He's in a black
man.
shirt.
Yeah. At least they wore white. The mothers wore white together.
So they don't get the uniforms in time. One thing I found yesterday that I sent you guys, Arlo White's a Bears fan.
Yep.
Didn't know that. Gives me new respect. I might try and invite Arlo on. Talk about our Bears.
Incredible scenes. Scenes here at Bolingbrook.
All right. Liv also announced any shot, anytime. Do you remember this? Where you can watch a feature that will allow you to watch any shot during any event live. Now, like the big release
happen?
of this that everybody was taking a victory lap. I'm unsure if it actually happened. Everyone's like, they like said they partnered with Google Cloud to do this. And they're taking like this huge victory lap about partnering with Google Cloud.
Biggest company in the world, essentially.
Yeah, and like all the Liv bots are like, oh my god, look at this. Google. Everybody said that Liv would never,
chip brands.
attract blue chip brands. They're partnering with Google, and it was not. They were not partnering with Google. They were partnering with PMY Group, who's their technology partner behind this operation, who uses Google Cloud services.
Right.
It's not a partnership with Google. They
Not a
partnered with
one-to-one
a technology group that uses Google Cloud services, which is like, there are like hundreds of thousands of companies that use Google Cloud services. And every Liv like proponent was spinning this as they partnered with Google. Just a funny. And then last thing on the Liv event, it came out like right ahead that like most of the league had this awful stomach bug.
Oh yeah, they're dropping like flies. Montezuma's revenge.
Yep.
And we all wondered if it was the carving board from the previous
The rail, Jim Beam, and carving station back at night. Rail drinks and carving station hype video.
We haven't even gotten to the SSG announcement here. So Nick Dunlap, he turned pro. There's a lot of drama about whether he was going to turn pro, and he said, "Happy to be here, and it's better than being in class." So he turned pro. He's in like all the signature events, but just a reminder of how stupid the FedEx Cup is.
Didn't have his points,
Did not get the FedEx Cup points for the Amex win, and then was a bubble boy as to whether he was going to get into signature events next year, despite winning 2 times.
Right.
2 times on the
Two-time
year.
winner.
Did not make it into Eastlake either.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe the only 2-time winner on the PGA Tour ever not to make it into Eastlake. But this was his turning pro.
FedEx Cup fact early.
Forgot about our FedEx Cup fact. I think Pavon was a big FedEx Cup fact guy at this point. SSG deal announced. I think Pavon got to number 1 after this week, by the way, with his second.
Oh, that's coming. Believe me, that's coming.
SSG deal announced. Here's the announcement of the deal. I don't really want to get into this too much. The announced deal, which includes an initial investment of $1.5 billion and up to $3 billion in total future investment, provides the tour with financial security as it navigates its ongoing negotiation and battle with Live Golf and PIF. The deal includes the launch of PGA Tour Enterprises, a new for-profit entity in which SSG will be a minority investor. So that's the, kind of nuts and bolts. There was another 1.5 upon them meeting some thresholds. So the 3 billion was like on them satisfying a few things. And I think a lot of it was the deal with the PIF. There'd be more money kicked in. So it might be getting richer very shortly. Here,
Mhm.
Shaq's newsletter. You know, you can always depend on Shaq to get in.
Sharpen the knives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Shaq's newsletter, Quadrilateral, probably the best $50. I think he might have raised the price to 60. My best $50 or $60 you can spend a year in golf. For those who care about the cash infusion, an undermined number of PGA Tour players will become, or an undetermined, undermined. It might have been a spell
That
check.
too. Yeah.
might have been an error on in the Shaq newsletter.
Well, copy editing's not.
It's a
Not
hobby.
the priority. Yeah.
Yeah.
Substance first. Copy editing
Substance-
second.
So an undetermined number of PGA Tour players will become equity holders in the enterprises and split $930 million after being in the right place at the right time. The amounts will depend on a combo platter of career accomplishments, recent achievements, and tour status. Oh, how Tim Fincham would have played favorites with those vague parameters. An additional $600 million will be sent out in recurring equity grants beginning in 2025.
I don't like. We'll see. Additional.
All right.
So like Pavan, not an equity holder. Now he's all of a sudden good equity holder in 20. Yeah, it's just interesting how to split that baby. Go ahead.
Yasser had a message to live players. Yesterday's announcement of the formation of PGA Tour Enterprises is consistent with PIF's longstanding passion to grow the game. PIF continues to discuss and evaluate the possibility of a future investment that benefits the greater game of golf.
Love that. Love just benefiting the greater game of golf.
That's what they're trying to do there in
All of
Saudi
this
Arabia.
together.
There's no underlying intentions. Just grow the game of golf. That's just all they want to do. Rory doesn't think he gets accused of being a flip flopper big time this week because he doesn't think players should be punished if they return to the.
This became a real hot topic. These like 15 days. Yeah.
Rory won the Pro-Am that week also.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was he with?
Jeff Rhodes, the TPG.
Like a Silicon Valley guy? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
And he finished like in the middle of the pack, but he made tons of birdies. And among his issues was he got penalized for taking a bad drop.
Rory got penalized?
Yeah, he got popped for a bad drop. On the 7th hole, I think it turned a bogey into a triple. He had a disastrous finish. He finished like triple, double bogey. He was like leading on Thursday and then finished that way on Thursday.
Cut short. Okay.
So according to Golf Channel, Rory took relief straight back from a tree on the 7th and dropped a club length to the right off that line.
So 7th, not at Pebble. If there's a tree. We're somewhere else at Spyglass or something, right?
Yeah, Spyglass.
Okay,
It was at Spyglass.
All right.
The old rule said you could do this, but the new rule says that the drop can roll up to a club length, but you can't drop within a club length.
I remember this now. Okay. So
he got penalized for a bad drop.
Of all the times and places, they're like measuring the inches of like how far away it rolled after the virtually certain gate. Interesting. That's fine.
This was the Q1 was tough for Rory's drops.
What else?
Players.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
All right. So let's see what else do we have here. All right, a couple odds and ends. We've got USGA introduces Ally as its presenting sponsor of the U.S. Women's Open. So that record purse. We wouldn't have gotten some great mid-season content if it wasn't for this week. And it happened on the European Tour. Someone rise back to prominence in golf. Do you know who won on the European Tour this week in Bahrain?
This isn't the Piss Bear one, right?
No, Piss Bear won last week.
Couldn't tell you who won in Bahrain.
Dylan Fratelli.
No.
He was on the verge.
He won this year?
He was on the verge of retirement. He was talking about retiring. There's these quotes of him talking about retiring. He wins, which gets him into all of the Rolex events. And I want to remind everybody, if he doesn't win this event, we get no coffee cart drama in Scotland. We get none of the monitoring of his coffee cart habits around meal times and asking the coffee cart how late they would be open.
I didn't realize he won or was close to retiring. God, I
won.
don't remember that at all. Bahrain.
Scott Simpson, just in terms of technology, Scott Simpson, a great player in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. He had an explosive quote about Greg. But I pulled the distance quote. He had a quote about Greg about how he just became a huge asshole the more successful he got.
Yeah.
He was like, he was a really nice guy. I played a ton with him. He was a really nice guy, but then he got famous and became a huge asshole.
Yeah.
But he's had an I think he's a Hawaii golf coach.
Okay.
Shoepack, another Shoepack interview.
Oh my God.
On pro golf athletes. In 1982, the longest guy on tour hit a 274 average. So it's a 50-yard difference. They talk about, stronger and all this stuff. That's a bunch of crap. Are they better athletes? Yes. But this is equipment. Because obviously, they've always had good athletes. Nicholas was as strong as could be. I think in 1982, the guy leading the tour at 274 was Dan Pohl, who got drafted into the Major League Baseball and is widely considered one of the greatest athletes ever in Michigan. So I just want to be. He was all-state football, golf, and baseball. Maybe basketball too. He might have played basketball too. But anyways, going back, Nicholas was as strong as could be, but you had to learn how to hit it straight because the ball curved more too. And the harder you hit it, like the real long guys, they would put more spin on it. So you almost had to learn how to hit it easier to take the spin off it. But now, because of equipment, you learn how to swing harder. That's why you see the left foot is jumping out of the way and you're starting to see more injuries. So, Scott Simpson.
Love that. Scott Simpson popping here.
Champions. PJ, can we play video?
Probably
we can. We can. I believe we can. Do you have one?
Well, that one that I sent you before we started recording, can you get that queued up?
Yeah.
This one needs a visual for our, but I've got a couple things to fill the time before we get there.
So
yeah. Champions Tour minute. Bernie tears his ACL.
Achilles.
Achilles. I have Achilles. I don't know why I said Achilles. He's doing workout sessions in Boca Raton. And this is when Aaron Rodgers is still in the crosshairs with the Achilles tear. And this is within the realm of possibility. He was talking about in December coming back after 8 games. Little did we know Bernie would come back within 3 months, 4 months of an Achilles tear. Pretty extraordinary feat.
Yep.
I spent I think it was Friday in the Cisco booth on 17, and it was like a battering wind. And it was just amazing to sit and watch AMS play the 17th in the wind. I mean, the water or the wind was
Heidi Uberoth trying to not get blown out to sea.
The shots, it was coming straight in, and maybe it was kind of quartering off away. I mean, these guys had no shot whatsoever. Pros were coming up short. They were having trouble judging it. These guys had no chance. I mean, they were just getting hammered. I don't think any of them got it to the green. Then there was a ton of talk about Taylor Swift's travel schedule. And we were talking about what direction she would be flying because she had shows in Australia.
Yeah.
But she had
Tokyo
to get
or something.
Yeah, she had to get back to the Super Bowl. Where was the Super Bowl?
Vegas.
To watch the game. So we were talking about which direction she would be flying, north or south. I recently saw on Twitter somebody flew across
is
around the
Easter.
world. And then everybody corrected us and said they actually fly north. They fly over the top North Pole. All right, looks like PJ's got this ready. I have to say, this to me was the gem of the research. I had completely forgotten it. Gem of the research I've done so far. Completely forgotten about this. One of the greatest moments in golf this year. Tom Brady's tee shot on the first hole.
Oh no! I forgot about this. Oh. Who captured this again? I mean, the cinematic expertise.
Can we roll again?
We'll run it again.
They got the finishing point.
What a whip around on the
And then
finish.
they zoom in on the ball just sitting there impotently 5 yards off the tee. Oh, and then he does like that was it. Just a little, that was all it was. He's just grooving his swing after. For the podcast, this is Tom Brady cold top.
It went 2 yards. I will
2
post.
yards.
I will post this on Twitter.
I forgot about this.
We'll put it on the Instagram story for everybody that's listening to this on audio form. This is when this episode drops. I watched this video.
I forgot about that.
I watched this video, I think 300 times when it happened. And last night it caused a 30-minute pause in my recording or my researching because I just continued to watch them. I think it's one of the greatest tops of all time.
It is. The way it was captured, just they pan away to
The hard
ball,
pan. The
pan
hard
back.
pan is really good.
Just
So, also something that happened here, who at the start of this was in the live audience, Michael Kim. I got a tale from a former teammate of Michael Kim related to this. Michael Kim, it came from Michael Weaver, who's told me that Michael Kim used to do full swing, full speed tops on the driving range, and he performed the full speed, full swing top about 2 weeks later. So we at wherever on the range, he was trying to get the thing. We'll have that in the Riviera. But anyways, this moment was the greatest to me. I don't know if there's a greater golf moment of the year.
You really shot. I've totally forgot about that one. This is why we do this exercise.
When I found it last night, I was like on the floor.
That's good. Anything else for Pebble? Great way to close it out. I love that. All right. We're at the 2.5 hour mark of this live stream. Someone just called it the Jerry Lewis telethon of live streams, but we're still going. Part 2 as you listen. I don't know if I might have to turn the camera off and go take a leak at some point. Turn the sound off. Go it. Turn the camera. No, turn the camera. I'll just go with PJ. Turn the camera and mute your mic. Take a leak. We're going to Phoenix. We're going from Pebble Beach down to Phoenix. So we start Phoenix Monday morning. We have field issues, like smaller field because one course. You had 3 at Pebble, 3 at Amex. Now we got a jam. There's frost delays notoriously at Phoenix. So a smaller field in Phoenix. You basically have KFT grad. This is Brentley. Number 2, Chan Kim. So grad number 2 from Vic National is 5th alternate. Meanwhile, Luke Donald and Kevin Stadler, Baby Walrus, is in the field on sponsor invites, which, and Hayden Springer next week at Genesis. 4 other Q School grads will have gotten into 2 of 7 events as we go deep into mid-February. So number 2 is the 5th alternate. Number 2 grad is the 5th alternate. We have field issues. Then we start getting down the alternate list because Victor Hovland, WDs from Phoenix. Xander Schauffele, WDs from Phoenix. People are freaking out because this is still like Hatton has just gone to Liv. Hatton has gone to Liv. Rom was lost. We thought Liv was dead. Now we've got Victor, who is ripping PGA Tour management at the start of the year. WD's Monday morning. Like, is this Liv related? Xander, oh my God, is this Liv related? All these WDs. Have they poached them? Are they going to show up in Vegas? Liv's back in Vegas, going back-to-back weeks in town during the Super Bowl. I think they went Wednesday to Saturday or whatever they do, Thursday to Saturday, 54-hole event to get out of the way of the Super Bowl in Vegas. So that people are freaking out. But you can't get any KFT grads in this field. It's ridiculous. So that's an issue, field issues. An individual by the name of Post Malone does a concert on the 16th hole in the pre-game festivities, pre-tournament festivities. I ask I don't get it. What's the big deal with Dick Post? And the Postmates, the Posties come after me hard this week for asking questions. In Vegas, we have Liv is going Liv Las Vegas. I think, where was this event? It was, I can't even remember. Country Club of Las Vegas or something. Old school. They were just sending it. It was not big enough for professional golf, but they just carving it up. But at the start of the week, this is a great little nugget I found. The start of the week, an individual by the name, this is the most Las Vegas politician name ever. Clark County Commissioner Tick Sigerblom. His name's Tick Sigerblom. Joins Liv Golf and presented a proclamation in key to the Las Vegas Strip to Kevin Na, captain of the Ironheads. So Tick, who has this mullet, just looks like a Las Vegas politician. Tick Sigerblom, which, how do you give a key to the Strip? What does that even mean? Proclamation for Kevin Na and the decrepit, horrible Ironheads, non-competitive Ironheads. Kevin Na gets a key to the Strip to start their week in Vegas. Dustin Johnson wins the Live Vegas event. Totally forgot about that. And don't recall him winning this year. But they asked him about the trade. He traded Peter Uihlein for Harold Varner III. He goes, I was just at a Dick's Sporting Goods buying some stuff for the kids. I was there. I need to run in, grab some stuff. Got a call from Richard Marsh. It's pretty late, December. They got a call because we weren't really thinking about trading anybody. This is DJ. But they said, do you want to trade Pete for Harold? And I was like, I didn't really want you, to be honest, talking about Harold. This is how trades happen on Liv. He's just running into Dick's to get some things for his
forgot
kids.
about this.
They basically told him, you're trading guys. He's like, this was late December, too. DJ would go on to win. Also, this
wasn't that was the article that outlined, or is that the year before they had the article? That was the year before that Golf Digest Middle East article.
Yes,
that outlined
how they approached article. Peter on the, you got to be with me. You're an ace, like on the green at Jeddah. Big hot topic this week is Liv reintegration. That's huge. JT says like, no, I don't want them back. Like, or if they come back, they have to pay the piper. There has to be a real, we're taking scalps if they come back, or there's a real penalty if you come back. Rory had just said, you just got to let them back. This is just a hot topic. Everybody's asking everybody about. Wyndham Clark, who had just won, had some astonishing quotes in the middle, in the midst of his win at Pebble. I think this was mostly Doug Ferguson, AP. I definitely met with Liv, went through those discussions. I want to see what they could bring to the table. I ultimately declined going to Liv because I felt like I still have a lot of things left in the tank on the PGA Tour, which, by the way, pretty like pants down moment there, like lift the veil. So if you don't have stuff in the tank, that's where you go to Liv? Because I feel I left in the tank on the PGA Tour. So I wanted to chase records. I wanted to chase world ranking. My dream is to try to be one of the top players in the world, not the top player. I grew up always imagining winning PGA Tour events. I chose my legacy over Liv, and that's what it came down to. I don't know what the future holds, but my career and what the PGA Tour and Liv are going to do. But at least for this season, I'm 100% set on the PGA Tour.
This season.
He just talks about legacy and records and chasing all this. But for this, what? Like, it's all got to be done by 12/31/24? That was bizarre. You also talked about essentially like Adam Scott. I had to call them when he was deliberating going to live. Call Adam Scott, Cantlay, Spieth, because there's so much effort, and Tiger. Sorry, make sure Tiger gets in there. They put so much effort into making sure the PGA Tour is going to make the right moves to continue to be the best. And they gave me some great advice and some counsel. I didn't want them to sway me, but I definitely wanted their counsel. I just wanted to honor them and the amount of time and work and effort they've put into this agreement with the SSG and where the tour is going. And so I kind of just was like, Wyndham Clark is a one-time major winner. He was playing the Punta Cana like a month before he won at LACC.
Pebble Beach course record holder, though.
And now he's got like Tiger on his hands and knees saying he's like, okay, I'll honor you, and just did not go to live. Like Tiger and Spieth and Cantlay and Adam Scott are having, like, Wyndham had a great run of play. It's just like everything's out of whack this week. Live, a lot of people get really worked up about Liv's ratings when they had that open lane on Sunday. You talked about those ratings come out and CBS pickleball beats them, so people are dunking on that. But like they had the whole Sunday to themselves. Immediately preferred lies in effect for Scottsdale, which is rare. Like this was cold, it was wet, more nasty
terrible weather.
Bad
Horrible
weather. Like, and it just became a mess. Like we had Pebble was a shit show. Phoenix is a mess because like they can't repair. They're starting the third round while finishing the second round. It just goes all the way like this to Sunday, just playing catch up. They do get it in on time. Pre-game or pre-tournament, the Good Desert Open goes off, which is basically, I think the Creator Classic just kind of took this and made it their own. But this was like they broadcasted on Golf Channel, I want to say, or Peacock combination. Michael Block was in there. It gets 700,000 views, 100,000 concurrence, I believe. But like a lot of praise for this. Like Lamagna loved it. Good Desert Open was a big thing. The equity memo like really got going. You just went through it. Like the 4 classes of players. Did you see? We just did that, right?
We
People
didn't
are
really
worked
do
up.
it. We didn't,
Well, this like
was
came out. The equity memo. Group 1 is 750 million to 36 players, and people are like, you have journalists being like, this is just money being wired into their account. No, it's like an equity value. They're not just handing out. There was like a lot.
I didn't think anybody understood what equity is.
They were like, oh, they're wiring $750 million to 36 guys is what people were confusing. Group 2 was 75 million to 64 players. Group 3 was 30 million to 57 players who have earned certain fully exempt PGA Tour status. And Group 4 was legacy players like Jack Nicklaus, 75 million to 36, who are instrumental in building the modern PGA Tour. I want to know who wants that. Is that like, Robert Allenby is like, I built this thing. I want my equity. Like who are those guys that are fighting?
Should come up with a list of legacy players that would be the most humorous to.
Yeah. Let's get that going. So that's the memo, the details come out. This was Spieth. So crappy weather. Spieth bogey 16. And there are reports and audio of overrated chants coming from the rowdy gallery at 16 to Spieth, which sort of warms the cockles of Andy. That immediately goes into the podcast. People chanting overrated at Jordan Spieth in Phoenix. Hammered masses at 16.
You know what? That's when you're at one point out on a take island. You're when it reaches that point, you've received total consciousness.
We'll get to this. Well, I'm just bouncing around in no particular order. With a playoff again. We have a playoff again. Nick Taylor beats Charlie Hoffman, Mr. Sponsors Exemption, Waste Management himself.
It was deep into the Super Bowl, as it always does.
They were trying to catch up from the delays earlier in the week. Nick Taylor came from behind to catch Mr. WM. Spieth was involved. Sahith was involved, but it really came down to these two.
Oh, I got so much heat for going after
Taylor
Charlie Hoffman this week.
I'll get to it in a minute. Taylor was incredible. Like he birdied Hoffman, he birdied 18 to force the playoff, then birdied twice again in the playoff to win his 4th PGA Tour win. This is when we got deep into his new hat sponsor, Boomy, with an I, Boomy, which we thought was just a made-up company from the show Silicon Valley, like Hooli, Boomy. It's some sort of software deal. They're terrible. Again, still working out the kinks at Shot Tracker and the app. Eric Patterson had an image of Thigala splits the fairways down 13. Something tells me he didn't turn around and hit it backwards, punch it backwards into the water. So Shot Tracker all over the place. Live scoring is a mess because, again, they're starting rounds like 3 before 2 is finished. The app is a mess. No repairs. You had this exchange. Some people, an individual by the name of John Donovan tweets at you, "I love you guys, but you're kind of being a dick about Charlie Hoffman. Just saying." Andy responds, "I thoroughly enjoyed watching a guy turn back the clock. Whether one performance over a sample size of 3 years playing on a golden parachute exemption should lead to what is an effective 3-year exemption into the very best on tour, very best events on tour is a valid question. No?" So that's that kind of distillation of your point, right? You got hot. Does this become a golden parachute for the last 3 years? Becomes another 3-year exemption into all the best events. So this top 10 plays his way into he gets exempt into the Genesis. I don't know if it's through the Aeon, whatever it is. This was after he apparently
kept his card. You got his card because of this exemption.
Yeah, a waste management sponsor exemption. And this was, again, Andy, you were taking a leak, but number 2 KFT grad could not get into the field. Chan Kim. He was the 5th alternate because Kevin Stadler, Luke Donald, others, and Hoffman on an exemption.
Hoffman finished 92nd. 92nd in the FedEx Cup with a 2nd place finish. So 300
comes out.
If you take it, God. And he got free points in all those signature events.
Comes out Sunday, Monday. So he gets into Riviera. It comes out. He had asked Tiger for a sponsor's exemption to Riviera. Tiger, the old Heisman, the Chucky Hoffman. No. But he plays his way in. Gets hot at Phoenix, the Mr. Tuft of grass. Speed stats this week. He was contending. That's probably too strong a word, but he was in it. 9th off the tee, 4th around the green, 5th putting, 6th total, 122nd approach the green. How is that possible?
That's what he's become. He's like
122nd approach the green, T6
he's an
total.
Awful iron player now.
Insane stats.
This is the stats show. He ran after distance and driving and lost the soul of what made him a great player, that approach play.
It's hard to be T6 in strokes gained total and 122nd in one category. That's tough. Rahm up in Vegas expresses like sort of regret. He goes, driving by Phoenix, the TPC, as often as I had to, and knowing that I wasn't going to play there, it's definitely emotional. It's one of the things I'm going to miss. I'm hoping in the near future I can be back playing some of these events. I would certainly have to go back and play some of them. The guy went to live like 2 months ago, and he's talking about being emotional. And I wish I was playing it. He said not being able to play the Amex and Farmers was hard. And then he was at Vegas. He's shouting about people to turn their phone off. I don't know if you remember this. It got loud. This is his 2nd ever live event. He's got his caddy Adam already, like, music's blasting. And he's like, turn the phone on silent. He's getting mad at the noise. And he's expressing regret and emotional about missing Scottsdale, Farmers, Amex. So people kind of pounced on those quotes. He's only, he's event 2. Of course, this was the week that behavior got a little excessive. Like, what is this event anymore? Billy Boy Horschel is caught on video dropping F-bombs he's not even him. It's his playing partner, a lefty. I don't remember. Payne guy. I don't know who would have been. Lefty says he's trying to hit his fucking shot, screaming, and then these idiots in the crowd are just laughing at Billy, yelling at him. Ben On tweeted, "Shit show, totally out of control on every single hole, everywhere." And then, of course, there was Captain Zach Johnson said, "Don't serve me. Don't serve me. I'm sick of it." And he backs off the rope line. He's had enough.
This is the start of Zach's, great relationships with fans, patrons, and fans.
Oh, don't serve
Long
me.
standing.
Don't serve me. He had an exchange with a local reporter, like a kid who's probably doing the high school events and sent to do golf. And he asked him, "Who do you work for?" in the exchange. The kid asked him, "You saw the interaction with fans out there. Wonder if you crossed the line a little bit this week." He goes, "If it crossed the line this week, what's the line? I'm asking you a question." So Zach's going back at this kid reporter. That's for you to set, the kid says. "Do you feel like things were over the top in a way that was inappropriate over the course of the week, especially on Friday and Saturday here? This tournament is inappropriate and crossed the line since I've been on tour, and this is my 21st year." Again, doesn't have to play.
No.
At some point, was that a good thing, or has it never been your cup of tea? He asked. Bottom of his line is, "I don't have to play if I don't want to, but I keep coming back." Boy, he's just an idiot. What is he saying? Why do you keep coming back? This is a great inquiry. Great line of inquiry, which I think is where he got frustrated and started asking the kid who he worked for. "So why do you keep coming back?" "I don't just like the golf course. I like the greens. I try to avoid playing on the West Coast, and these are overseas Bermuda, so that's usually how I base my schedule. And usually it's bouncy, so I can even get loft to my hands. But it was wet this week, so typically I base it on the golf course. If up to you, the crowd's insanity to be reined in, not just this week, but every year. I'll answer it by saying we have a choice to play here and not player. So who do you work for?" Kid goes, "The newspaper here. I'm just trying to get a feel for how guys are feeling about the event after yesterday. At some point, I don't know what the line is, but you have people falling out of the rafters. You have fights in the stands. It's to the point where now, how do you reel it in? Because it's taken on a life of its own. I think the Thunderbirds probably need to do something about it. I'm assuming they're ashamed, but at some point, somebody's going to either really, really get hurt or worse. You got a woman falling down 20 feet. Do you expect to be back?" "Well, I'm almost 48, and I don't know. I don't have any idea if I'm coming back or not. That's a team decision / wife decision. You're hitting me at a very emotional point right now. So if I were to say I'm going to come back, I'd probably say no. But at the same time, I have no idea.
I'm going to
get starts where I can.
You think he's going to come back?
I'm going to get starts where I can. Why do you say it's an emotional point? Because I just played 54 holes in 2 days and I'm beat. I'm done. I'm done with it. He goes, with this, I'm done with everything. Great reporting. That kid was hounding him, trying to get to the bottom of it.
Clearly not a golf reporter asking all those questions.
Total Karen moment. Who do you work for? I want to take to the manager. So that was Billy. So the organizers on Saturday had to refuse any more ticketed fans, shut off alcohol sales for a time. There were obviously a bunch of fights. There was a woman who fell 20 feet. There were people, passed out, urinating themselves while passed out. Obviously, just a lot of things that didn't make you super in love with the human race. And so, yeah, it caused and the weather contributed to this. A lot of walkways were covered in mud and not passable and
not
just led
kitty
to
litter.
Congestion.
No kitty litter.
And it was just a mess. Yeah. And they did create changes, I think, for this coming year. I think they're put a cap on tickets for Saturday. But yeah, this was it sort of crossed, I don't know,
they
some
just
new line.
Laying people in?
Yeah, I think you can just come as long as you have pay. Any amount of people can come on Saturday. And the weather, it was just a disaster. It was not good. What else happened this week? Dustin Johnson was surprised he won the Vegas event. He said he barely touched a club during the offseason. He was genuinely surprised. This is from Danny Rappaport. Genuinely surprised at his T5 finish in Mexico and surprised he won. $4.7 million in the first two events. Hadn't touched a club, he said.
Well, this corroborates the Jupe scoop we got later in the
Yeah.
year that he was an endangered species at the club he practices at.
Yes.
That they've seen him less than
Yep.
10 times since he took.
Yep. He beat Uline and Gooch, and then everybody went and partied for Las Vegas Saturday night Super Bowl parties. Good setup schedule wise, quite honestly.
Fleetwood was there. Remember
Yeah,
that?
Fleetwood went because
on
he
the
was
range.
Yeah, he was hanging out there. Oh, the good thing about Phoenix, despite the messiness, was Lamagna wrote like it was a refreshing glimpse into what pro golf looks like when the golf ball doesn't travel so damn far. The cold, rain, windy conditions put a governor on it. And so you had like a wide range of shots coming into greens. Like it wasn't necessarily firm, but you were playing from a bunch of different places because of the rain and wind and cold. What else? Oh, so Jordan Fabian, who is a political reporter, tweeted Saudi. I think there was like a second Senate hearing for just like not the high profile buzz, but the consultants and attorneys. This is a report from Bloomberg. Saudi Arabia has threatened to imprison the bankers and consultants it works with that cooperate with the probe by U.S. lawmakers into the planned merger of PGA Tour with Live Golf. So threatened imprisonment for American consultants and lawyers. And this becomes 8 billion retweets and people are very worked up about that. We learn Sunday Red comes out. So this goes into Genesis is on the doorstep. But we learn Sunday Red. And this is the first tweet that I could find from Sunday Red. It started with a passion. The passion of competing against ourselves, the field, the course, life. Out of that passion, Sunday Red rises. That's the introduction. Can I just say the passion of competing, the field, the course, life? We're competing against life? That's a little heavy. It's a little dystopian.
Well,
that's
a
a
competition
little heavy.
if you try hard enough.
I don't want to feel like I'm living life. I don't want to be competing against life. So that was Sunday Red's introduction to the world. Lance Bennett has been hired as Tiger's new bagman.
Yeah.
That comes out, which think about how big a news that used to be, right? And
yeah,
it's just I don't know what happened. Just speaking of where we are on the tour, Matthew Pavon says he's skipping Riviera during Phoenix week. It's like the best.
He's number one in the world at this point.
Free money, free points, best. It's just like, nah, what are you doing? Skipped Riviera. Kind of insane. That's where we are in golf. Elsewhere, Cristobal del Solar had a 57 on the KFT.
Oh, yeah.
Astara Golf Championship. And Potgieter shot 59. So just like they were going to town in this event.
Did
Golf
Potgieter end up getting his card? Was he number 30?
Yes, he was right on the line.
Close. He won
29 or 30.
Won Abaco. Yeah. I think that does it for Phoenix Open. Competing against life.
Are we going again? Are we finishing this?
Let's go. We got two
more.
more. You do Genesis.
I got a hard stop in an hour.
Oh, we're easy.
Oh,
unless you have an insane amount for Genesis.
We're going. We're pushing the ball down the field.
I'm going to the bathroom. I'm taking my break.
You know what helps? You know what helps push the ball down the field? When you're in the right attire. I'm really comfortable this morning because I'm wearing my Beach Ready hoodie. Beach Ready is a longtime partner of ours. They've been here since day one. They're supporting the pod. They're supporting us, and they make great products. Whether you're looking for like active Beach Ready sport, stuff that you could wear in sweaty boy season, whether you want a polo that you could dress up a little bit more. Their Liam polo is like amazing for that. It's also amazing for, cooler weather. It's classic Peruvian Pima cotton. You see a lot of other brands have gotten into the cotton space since they kind of brought it back. If you use the promo code SGS30, you get 30% off. That's a good deal. That's all the time. It's not Black Friday, or this episode is going out on Black Friday. Do we have Black Friday deal too? Should we do double ad here?
Yeah, Black Friday 24 at the Friday Golf Pro Shop gets you 20%.
You can buy a bunch of Beach Ready stuff in there.
Dratty Liam polos, Dratty everyday vests, Dratty hoodies.
Wasn't there some promo we were supposed to hit, PJ?
Black Friday 24.
Black Friday 24.
I think that's it. I think we're good. But SGS
No,
30.
here, this is
what?
it.
What?
Every
What? Some
purchase of
extra?
$250 or more through December 3rd will be entered into a raffle for one of our 2025 events. This is for. So I ended the B Drat. This is not a B Dratty deal. This is $250 or more in the Fried Egg Pro Shop. All right, you get entered into a raffle for one of our 2025 events. Eligible events include Colorado Golf Club, pretty great, Core Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Moraine Country Club, awesome course in Dayton, awesome golf course. Played a USAM qualifier there years ago. That was I used to be an arm lock putter, and after that USAM qualifier, I have not touched that arm lock putter. It went away forever.
Noble of you. Integrity.
Essex County Country Club, which is the one in New Jersey, in PJ's neck of the woods.
Yep.
Skokie, Chicago one, great course in Chicago area. Lawsonia, Broomsedge, Old Barnwell. So go to proshop.thefriedegg.com. Use the code BlackFriday24 for 20% off your purchase, and if you spend $250 or more, you'll be entered into that raffle.
I love that. Love that. Double Dratty, double Black Friday. SGS 30 at bdratty.com and zero restriction.
Add minute here.
There we go.
You're going to the bathroom.
You saved my bacon there. We almost missed it. Part 2.
I wasn't going to let us blow through that. I've been monitoring that. All right. You gotta turn off the camera. You go to the bathroom. I'll start this off.
Let's go, Riv, baby.
Riv, one of my
favorite
favorite weeks of the year. I think we were together. Me and Brendan were together this week. Hideki shoots 62. He started the day 6 back, made 9 birdies to win by 3 shots over Will Zalatoris and Luke List. The 54-hole leader was Patrick Cantlay, who did absolutely nothing. I think it was Cantlay and Xander.
It was him and Xander, yeah.
In the final grouping, did nothing on Sunday.
Meow.
Yeah, meow. There's a small rules controversy. I feel like Brendan will remember this with Hideki on the 17th, and this came off the heels of the Pavone controversy. Hideki was chipping from behind the 17th green, and he was kind of mashing with his club down the turf, and they had to call in Mark Dusabovic for to clarify why he wasn't getting penalized. Nance was hot. Nance was hot about the internet rules official. I think he signed off the segment saying, "Why don't you go online and find something else to yell about?"
Yep.
So with Hideki's 62, incredible iron shots on 15 and 16. He hit them both inside of a foot. The 16th, in classic Hideki fashion, was a one-handed finish to like 9 inches. And in his post game, after shooting 62, so he shoots 62 in his post game. He says, "I wasn't striking the ball really well."
Oh God.
So historic win because he passed KJ Choi. It was his 9th career win, so he had the most career wins of any Asian-born PGA Tour player.
Amazing.
So really big win in that. This week, Tiger's back, as you announced. New caddy in tow. He's back. Is his? Do you know how many? What tournament number in the last 2 years this was for Tiger?
Say that again.
You know how many tournaments he had played in the last 2 years when you add this one in?
Like 7.
This was his exactly 7th tournament. And leading into the 6 prior, he had finished 3 of them. And he did not finish this one. So right now, at this point, he'd not played 7 tournaments in the last 2 years and finished 3 of the 7. In his press conference, there's like a lot of talk about, what's, the SSG deal and the PIF involvement. We'll just hit them really quick. We want to have history, involve the history and the traditions of history in our tour, and have pathways, accessibility, have all the intangibles that have made the PGA Tour what it is right now, what it has been, and hopefully what will continue to be even better. And how do we do that? That's the whole idea of why you have a group like SSG, to provide us with information and help in trying to create the best tour we could possibly have. So, everybody's dreaming of this private equity money, bringing in great new ideas. And it becomes very clear with that quote that Tiger is interested in keeping things as status quo as possible, retaining the history, not looking at maybe something's wrong with the product, but rather, why don't we just put more money into the product that is existing and it'll get better, which I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the right idea, but that's what his idea is. And he now holds, a
permanent right? Term
seat.
limitless spot. Yeah.
On PIF, ultimately, we would like to have PIF be a part of our tour and a part of our product. Financially, we don't right now. And the monies, he always kept saying
monies.
That they have come to the table with, and what we initially had agreed to in a framework agreement, those are all the same numbers. Anything beyond this is going to be obviously over and above. We're in a position right now. Hopefully we can make our product better in the short term and long term. So this is a big business week for Tiger because he launched his Sunday Red. And he touts the cashmere hoodie. He goes out and says he says it's like the first of its kind, which was like unequivocally not true.
No one's ever made a cashmere hoodie in history.
You're wearing a merino wool hoodie from Bedrati. They have a similar one, similar cashmere one.
Yeah.
I think Grayson makes a cashmere hoodie. Peter Millar might make a cashmere hoodie.
They make everything. Yeah. Yeah.
So all these companies make cashmere hoodie. He's saying it's the first ever cashmere hoodie. They have like all kinds of issues with like the embroidery, the logo.
Sunday Red?
Yeah. Remember the sloppy embroidery? It's like not centered.
Yep.
On the shirt.
Oh yeah. It's not available for purchase. It's like this big rollout. Nobody can buy it. Giant launch event.
Shaq in his newsletters, like, we're reminded. I didn't put this in here, but it's like, now that we're on the subject, he's got a great line about like, we realize like all the marketing muscle that Nike brought and how awful TaylorMade is at marketing because of this, like how clumsy it is and just like how good, like it gets like you just don't realize how good Nike is at rolling out a product until you see somebody else roll out a product in such disastrous form that had been with Nike his entire career, Right. So on whether he has the right or the desire to own the Nike TW logo, I don't want it back. I've moved on. This is a transition in my life. I've moved on to Sunday Red, and we're looking forward to building a brand that elicits excitement and is transformative.
He said that off the cuff?
Yes.
That was a press conference? Elicits excitement? Okay. All right.
Elicits excitement and is transformative. So I can't wait to see the transformative stuff that they do with golf apparel. So far, it just looks like highly marked up Nike stuff.
Doesn't sound like an amicable split. I don't want it. George Strait, just give it away.
You know what Claire Rogers had? Was like he's like done with Nike. Like that. Yeah. This is
yeah.
I think they're like, you'll never see him in a Nike piece of clothing ever again. But I think Claire Rogers saw that he was wearing Nike work boots at like Trout National. There was a poll, and it was like, I didn't think this would be the last pair of Nike. It's his like work boots to go on site when he makes his one on-site visit at one of his golf courses.
Come on.
So
he shoots the dozer every other week. Come on. All right.
He shoots 72 on Thursday. You were watching this. You were on site.
Yeah.
You were on the 18th hole when he hit one of what will go down as one of his most
right
infamous
there.
shots. He hits a cold
Forgot that.
shank on 18.
Yeah.
Might have been like the first time he ever hit a cold shank.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the chip yips, in 2015. This was like a straight. I don't think I've ever seen that.
You had like
Tiger.
a retelling of this in the newsletter where it was like the
I was-
definite. You were there,
Yeah.
right there, right?
I was right there. I was on the right side, like kind of almost in the fairway. And it felt like you're just on the range and just slapping the ball. Like you could see that you heard it right away. Like even the untrained ear was like, oh, that didn't sound good. And it's just putzing around in the trees. That was crazy. I forgot about that.
Let's see here.
Well, he didn't. This was presenting Hazel first, right? That was this shank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said about it, I came down and it didn't move. I presented Hazel first and shanked it.
Yes.
I presented Hazel first. Great quote.
Elicits
Then he went down and
excitement,
hit like a
presented
great shot to
what
make a
wordsmith.
bogey.
Yeah. He did. Like that was jail. And he kind of scooted one up around the green. I can't remember if he got on.
So he shoots 72. He's like in the mix to make the cut. And then he WDs the next day with the flu. And then
So bizarre.
the ambulance came.
Yeah.
And
There
like
people were-
everybody was there for the ambulance. And Dan Rappaport called it a paramedic truck.
It's not an ambulance. It's a paramedic truck. It's not an ambulance. It's a paramedic truck. Very specific.
Oh, people had fun with that one. Forget what they called the fire truck, but they had fun with that one. Were people blaming the In-N-Out burger like for giving him? There was like
Yes.
video of him getting in and out during the practice round, and they're like, "Oh, you got popped by food poisoning."
He said he had the flu, influenza.
That was so weird.
And then he went home to Florida and wasn't around for the trophy presentation. But like none of golf media was like, it's still like this guy's played 6 times in 2 years.
Yeah.
He's not a competitive golfer anymore. And everybody at the event, every media member at the event, standing around this paramedic
truck. Well, I mean, were people worried? Like, is he having like a real medical, like a heart issue?
Yeah.
I think there was like a scary there for a minute, though.
Jordan Spieth got DQ'd this week for signing an incorrect scorecard.
Oh, I forgot about this.
He double bogeyed 18 and he signed for a bogey. He left scoring before the mistake could be pointed out. There was then discourse about like
Big
whether
debate. Yeah.
whether PGA Tour players should still keep score, and it was a genuinely big topic. I didn't.
It took a stand.
Yeah,
on that one.
Like, yeah, keep score. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
be a pro.
Yeah.
I think Rory said something about like, do we want to keep if we want to keep the game the same, like, this would be a bifurcate. Like, this is, people do this at the club every week. After Hideki won, he tweeted, "Great playing, Hideki. Just make sure you double check that scorecard." So good.
Wasn't he sick too? Didn't he like run to the bathroom and that's why he left scoring immediately?
Yeah, there was something going around for sure. There was something going around with multiple guys. I think that's right.
I got a ball frog hat this week. I was pretty happy about that.
I remember that. I was like minute 5 on the property. We walked down and immediately a ball frog hat. It's
black on black. It's a sick ball frog hat. I gotta find. I think it's in my hat thing. I gotta go. I should have worn it for this. Let's see. Waste Management Open releases a statement about some of the details of why they had to close the gates during the third round Saturday. Weather had rendered swaths of the property unusable for fans, so congestion in the remaining areas was untenable. They also hinted at the possible future changes to the overall atmosphere. It was kind of like they were saying, all right, this can't go on this way.
The overall atmosphere.
We were together. It was B, you, Shane, and Eamon. Like we're having a drink before we went out to dinner.
Uh-huh.
We put up a poll about who had the worst Uber rating.
Uh-huh.
Uber passenger rating.
How about this?
Me, Eamon, Brendan, and Bacon. I received 43.5% of the vote. Eamon received 36.4% of the vote.
Oh my
Brendan,
God.
12%, and Bacon, 8%. The results of said poll were basically completely the opposite of our Uber ratings, which I take offense to. I take great offense that people would think I'm a poor steward of Ubers. I'm like the greatest Uber passenger of the world.
God, I just lost another decimal point.
Oh, no.
I'm 475.
Yeah, look at
I got
mine.
yelled at. Guy at Dulles a couple weeks ago yelled at me for closing the door too hard.
I think I was.
Which is what happened in LA. Guy said I slammed. We were on your account. Guy yelled at me for closing the door too hard on his Uber, and you're like, you're trying to jam me and take your rating down.
I'm still 4.9, 4.9, holding strong. Great rating. Heavy user of Uber and a 4.9.
I swear I was just
Screw all you
476.
people that think I'm a bad Uber rider.
I don't do any. I just tip. I
You're
give
a,
everybody
you're a
5
bad
stars.
guy. You're a bad guy.
I closed the door
You
too
get
hard.
pushy.
Oh God, that never happens.
You don't like things. I'm polite. I tell people the way it is, but I'm polite.
Oh, I forgot about that.
10 and 15 were modified. 10 was like the green was softened. 15 green was softened. It was announced that Vern will call his final Masters. So it was a lackluster West Coast swing.
Yeah, not great. Hideki's
Nope.
round great.
No player from the PGA Tour's Player Impact Program finished in the top 10, finished better than third in any event this year. And only one player from the PIP top 20 has won, and that was Wyndham Clark in a rain-shortened event. And I think he was number 20.
He was number 20. Yeah.
So just kind of like reiterates kind of disappointing. This was an awesome Sunday, though. And Hideki would like the PIP and Hideki is just like not really a real thing, right?
Yeah.
One last thing we'll leave on this. Rory joined the booth on Sunday for a very long time.
Oh, I only vaguely remember this. Okay.
He was in there for a long time. And one of the most interesting moments, probably could be like a watershed moment in the year, happened. Scotty missed a terrible miss on a birdie putt. And Rory suggested that he switch to a mallet. Citing his own career putting changes, McIlroy noted it could be really helpful for Scotty. Sure enough, Scotty switches like literally the next tournament and off to the races.
You think Rory feels like the end of Oppenheimer, where he's just staring into the camera?
Never seen it. I know the story.
Thinking about what he's done. Thinking about what he's done, unleashed onto the world. It's his fault.
Didn't we talk to Scotty on the putting green this week?
I did.
He had a bunch
about the Myrtle Beach tournament. Gave me
he was tinkering with a bunch of putters, though. I think.
Yeah, he was.
Was he pro Myrtle Beach Classic? Another opposite field event.
He was. He was pro it. He said that, do you want this to exist? And I said, I don't want this event to exist. And he goes, well, if you want it to exist, then this event probably should exist. It's a good idea. And I go, but this event shouldn't exist. And he was like, why? And I'm like, well, you're not going to play in it. And he goes, I'm not going to play in it. And I go, if you're not playing in it, the event shouldn't exist, effectively.
Pretty good. That's good.
But then he turned and walked away.
Switch putters came out. That's great. Hey, did they do the 16 line again? Right? Didn't they put a scoreboard, or they raised the scoreboard? Or was that a prior year with Hovland going down?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They put the maybe that was the year before. They raised it up.
15.
Though.
I think
They
it's
put
no,
flags
16.
up. They put flags on it.
Yeah,
this
on
year.
top of the yeah.
All right.
Good one. Love it.
Trying
All
to
right,
think of anything else that we were on the ground there.
We're on the ground. The Uber rating. There was what else happened? I don't know. There was just the pro-am disaster, having to watch people play pro-ams in the cold till dark. That was tough. That was tough. We went up and down the steps multiple times just to prove we were better athletes than Lanto, more conditioned. So, all right, let's go. Let's go to Mexico Open. We're gonna commit to the bit here. Let's
Mexico.
do it. PJ's back in from the bullpen.
Gotta finish strong. I have more.
Vidanta.
Rory, did it go in?
I got a live text from someone saying Andy needs the board taken away from him, from our friends Claire and Zach. This is incredible. They're driving to Thanksgiving
You know what
dinner
you get for that?
Fighter of the night, man. Oh.
1 per hour. That's the one for the third hour. That's the one for the third hour. It's been used. Thank God Jason Day did not make the trip to Mexico, where the PGA Tour made a stop at Vidanta Vallarta, home of the Amica Bridge, the longest golf cart suspension bridge in the world. You guys loved this. You loved this.
What is the term?
Longest golf cart suspension bridge in the world.
God.
560 feet. You guys absolutely loved this all week long. That was this was the highlight, truthfully, of the Mexico Open. Another highlight, won by Jake Knapp, which led to a week's worth of Mighty Ducks discussions across every platform.
Why?
Because he's sponsored by the Anaheim
sponsored
Ducks.
by the Ducks.
I don't even remember that.
And
Okay.
God,
Andy
Gunnar
found-
Stahl.
Andy found
weird
an article from the Ringer of the ranking all like 35 players to play for the Mighty Ducks that you guys went through on the Friday episode, because Knapp was in contention before entering the weekend. This was a lot of Knapp catnip, just like pulverizing the ball speed merchant, like everybody getting introduced to Jake Knapp for the first time. So he won, has a Mighty Ducks jersey or an Anaheim Ducks jersey waiting for him on the 18th green, where he shotguns a beer in a Ducks jersey as a celebration.
Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack. Ducks fly together, all that stuff. Brentley has a tweet where he calls Jake Knapp Jim Woo Lee, which I thought was pretty funny because he's jacked and is hitting the ball so far.
GYM, Jim Woolley.
Yeah, Jim Woolley. So a lot of Jake Knapp this week.
Oh, the bouncer content was out
of control.
Yeah.
They had pictures of him working security at the bar, like weird, like pictures taken where he was not expecting a picture taken of him, makes the rounds, like as he's working security at the bar in 2019, I believe it was. And now he's winning on tour just 4.5 years later. So much Jake Knapp content. Bones is the NBC lead chair this week.
Still caddying for JT, right?
Yes. Okay. Where the comment from you guys was, "This is stupid. We know he's never doing this full time. So why are we wasting a week of reps on this?" Little did we know. That opens back
I can
up.
start stupid.
What's that for?
Because waiting for that one.
All right.
So Bones is in the NBC lead
I can't
chair
wait till we
week.
get to Russ Cochran week.
Well, you could play that now. I was going to get to that at the end here. The Champs Tour is in Morocco this week, where Russ Cochran makes a start.
Why is the Champions Tour going to Morocco? Clearly, the Moroccan tourism board just pays for a chip.
We can get into that. Russ Cochran WDs after 2 rounds. In Morocco.
You went to Morocco to WD?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Russ Cochran can take anybody that hosts a podcast, give them 2 aside, and play them for their car podcasts.
While we're on Morocco, won by Ricardo Gonzalez, his first career PGA Tour Champions win. John Daly came in. He was in Phoenix, actually. He's Argentinian. They were very fired up about Ricardo Gonzalez securing his status for
Never
next
heard
year.
of him.
Well, he won in the Morocco. He was 10 under. John Daly DFL at 27 over. For
What's he doing in Morocco? Like,
well,
God only knows. Oh no, you were on the spot. Visual aids.
I saw this. I saw something load in. PJ is doing the Lord's work here. You are able to.
Here's
you're
what
able to upload this.
Show and tell at the same time.
Here's what he was doing in Morocco for our listeners on audio. John Daly is walking a camel.
Some sort of native garb.
Walking a camel.
Going 27 over.
A tweet from the Champions Tour. I believe that's Calc in the background on a camel. Also in the photo on the left.
That's incredible.
So this is what's going on in the Champs Tour this week while everybody else is in Mexico. Just figured I'd throw that in there. So in Mexico, on Thursday on 18, SH Kim gets a free drop, hitting it up against the fence on the right boundary. He says he's going to hop the fence and play it sideways, horizontally, and they deem that he has a shot, gets a free drop. Sami Valmaki, who is in the final group with Knapp and has a chance to win, hits pretty much the same exact shot on Sunday on 18, and they do not give him a free drop because
he didn't ask for it, right?
No, they deemed that he could not play it through the fence. He didn't try to say, I will hop the fence and play this horizontally. He didn't learn from SH Kim. They just said that the sand was not an extension of the cart path and did not give him a free drop, whereas they gave it to SH Kim, and everyone was very confused. The answers that they gave, Brentley wrote an article. Nobody really ended up with like a firm yes or no answer on why one got it and one not. It was Lamagna pretty much just said, SH Kim was better at lying, that he was going to hop the fence and go horizontal and play it sideways. So that was the big actual golf on course news out of this week. Matt Wallace did the walk and talk immediately after hitting it in the water on his approach shot, and he gets instructed to put the headphones in. I actually thought it was a pretty good walk and talk. He handled it well, but it was the first like really immediate destruction straight into the AirPods walk and talk that we had this year. What else do we have this week? Thorbjorn Orlesen, Joaquin Niemann, and Rio Hitsune get Masters invitations for their wins.
Special exemptions.
Yeah, right? Various tournaments throughout the world. Everybody is very happy for Niemann. The live contingent is excited with that to get him in. Niemann, historically decent Masters player, so that was that was big for them. Andy, you had a great tweet as Knapp was finishing up on Sunday saying Liv has don't blink, now the PGA Tour has don't take a nap. People really liked that one. And
that's when I still thought about tweeting.
And Joseph had a screenshot of the FedEx Cup standings at this point in the season, with number one player in the world, Matthew Pavone, leading Scotty Scheffler as we hit the end of February by like a wide margin. Panini, the trading card company, unveils live trading cards this week that sell out. We
gotta get our hands on some of those,
like almost immediately, like way too quickly, and everybody on Twitter is confused about who is buying them. Bryson appears on the Live official podcast and goes on I don't want to call it a tirade, but I'll call it a rant about how we have fulfilled every single criteria that the OWGR is looking for, and it is a joke that we are not getting points yet. He is very, very upset, is like quoting the OWGR's like website to discuss how Liv has checked every box that they're possibly looking for. And the host of the Live podcast just calls OWGR a joke, and it doesn't matter. And nobody's worried about it anyway. But Bryson very much is worried about it at this point. Ram does his interview with Marty Smith on ESPN discussing his move to Live, where he pretty much just openly admits that he took more money to play less golf. He says that Rory was very supportive of his decision, both publicly and privately, but Tiger will not answer his texts or talk to him as he attempts to explain why he defected. Speaking of Tiger, a couple Tiger notes this week. The Sunday Red tagline is revealed. The tagline of "We're not for people who want to live a certain kind of lifestyle. We're for people who want to live a certain kind of life." Brendan was very fired up about this on the I think the Friday episode.
It's insane.
They're selling polos and sweaters.
Yeah, it's not a lifestyle. It's a kind of life.
That cannot be.
It's still their Instagram bio, by the way. In November 27th. So they're still hammering that home. This was also the trademark drama where it was revealed that some random guy had the trademark to Sunday Red, like two letters, and not Nike or TaylorMade, or 2 words and not Nike or TaylorMade or anything else. So that is why they had to split it into the 3. Anthony Kim is announced with the weird sand dunes video and his shot at redemption Live promo as playing in Jeddah the next week. This is announced this weekend to get official confirmation of AK teeing it up. And then the biggest thing of the week, even bigger than the Mexico Open or John Daly with the camel, I would say, is Charlie Woods plays the pre-qualifier for the Cognizant.
Oh, this is so weird. People like
the PGA Tour is filming him on a cell phone in the parking lot at 7 a.m.
A pre-qualifier.
Yes, the pre-qualifier to make the Monday of the Cognizant Honda. He shoots an 86. He takes a 12 on a par 4 to essentially
like right out of the
eliminate him.
gate too.
It was like 7th hole. Yeah. It takes a.
Didn't you have to call 12. The cops with like crowd
there are
control
people. Yeah, there are people live tweeting it. People
there was a live blog on the PGA Tour's website.
Oh God.
About his round that I guess they never really thought through, like, what if this goes poorly? Charlie handles it pretty well. He's according to the Palm Beach Post, says to his caddy, a high school teammate of his, he just says, "Oh, what a round going off of 18." Like, he seems in decent spirits. But I have some other quotes from the Palm Beach Post here. His first out of bounds drive went toward the right on number 5. So did several fans hoping to grab a souvenir from the bushes and palms. Tiger did not go, but Elin was following him in the gallery. Let's see, where's the quote? There was no he had a security detail of 2 guys, including a deputy sheriff for Palm Beach County. But there was a gallery of 50 plus people just walking the fairways because there was no ropes or anything. They ignored repeated requests from tournament officials to stay on the cart path. A disgruntled fan asked one official, "Who are you, the fire marshal?" As he turned to the back 9, more than 50 fans turned with him, including one grandmother who learned that he was competing and pulled her granddaughter out of school in the hopes that Woods would notice her.
People are so
That's
weird.
So weird.
As Charlie left the 12th green, a fan demanded he sign a copy of Tiger's book, How I Play Golf. It was just a lot going on here. So, after all, he got his learner's permit only 2 weeks ago and left the course Thursday afternoon in the driver's seat of his own car, from the Palm Beach Post, end quote. So a lot of Charlie, everybody tweeting. Garrett had a great tweet of people posting about it and then other people posting about how we're not supposed to be talking about it because it's weird. And then people are talking about how we shouldn't talk about it because it's weird. It's a very weird week of content on Twitter, but Charlie was really, I would say, the content focal point of this week. And then one last note, Ronald Rugmayo became the first Ugandan to make the cut on the DP World Tour at the Kenya Open. That was big. He had a very emotional interview
that was
afterwards. Cool. That was a very cool moment that came up a couple of times in my research. But on the shotgun start, this was the e-bike week, where Andy starts his crusades against e-bikes. Why don't you just pedal? And
now he's an e-bike owner.
Yep.
I might not have to pedal. I pedal on mine.
All of the kids riding around. There's a kid on your street that's very upset because he has a mountain bike and not an e-bike. People were very worked up about the e-bike situation. This was the Tesla episode, where you get into the Tesla golf advice about having a Tesla on a golf trip, and you have
God,
to
there's been so much supporting evidence for that. People teetering out in the middle.
Somebody
of the
came
desert.
to a fried egg event in a Tesla and had to stop.
Couldn't get back. Yeah.
Couldn't find a place to charge it.
Brendan goes on his F1 rant about how golf. People are trying to make golf like F1, and F1 had this once-in-a-lifetime shooting star of a reality TV show that is impossible to replicate. And even then, it's still not all that famous, but that's why they have this United States audience. This was in a TV deal discussion about how the PGA Tour that has a TV deal based on a United States audience was complaining that ratings were not good enough. And everybody was like, oh, well, look at F1. And you were pretty pissed off about the whole F1 comparison.
People using a model that, anyways, separate discussion. Did you listen to all the old episodes for your research?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
that's psychotic.
No. I was locked in. And then I'm glad I did, because this week was also the revelation that Andy did not have a passport before going to Ireland. And you were trying to figure out whether you could get a rush job in time and if you were going to make it. There were multiple polls on the SGS Twitter about whether anybody thought you were going to make it or not. So Andy's passport and Charlie Woods and the Mighty Ducks, I would say, are the three recurring characters.
And the bridge.
And the bridge.
Can't forget the bridge.
No, can't forget the bridge.
All right.
That's what I've got for Mexico.
Are we done?
I think that's it. The latest YouTube comment, Pat Noor says, I arrived in the parking lot at O'Hare when you guys started. He says he just touched down at LaGuardia. So he's flown from Chicago to New York in this live stream. I have 331 right now, but this will be 2 episodes of the Year in Review. We'll move on to part 3 after Thanksgiving holiday. I don't know. Sunday, Monday, we'll see.
That research is going to come barreling down on me on Sunday.
Yeah, we got to get through the holiday with family and all that stuff. But next one, we'll go through the players. I think we're going to do like Cognizant, Bay Hill, PR Open, probably for a second, the Players Championship, and then we'll get through that. I think that'll be part 3 Monday after Thanksgiving. Then we'll take a break, go to Hero World Challenge and do stuff there and all that. But thank you. Thanks to B. Dratty for supporting this. Go to the Black Friday Pro Shop sale as well. Thank you. We're going to keep it. You guys like these? We'll keep it humming.
And
go ahead.
I hope we're going to be talking about Victory Friday after the Bears knock off the Lions.
Oh, God.
That would be bad for you. That would be
Aren't you
that
trying
would be
to,
an Eberflus signature win.
Oh, that's right. Actually, he hasn't won on the road on a Sunday.
Well,
it's a Thursday game, so he could win this.
You're saying there's a chance.
All right. As of this recording, everyone enjoy your weekends with family, all that stuff. We will be back with you